I don't know if I want to see it. I heard it was supposed to be really sad.
It's the greatest anime ever! There are these 9 countries, right? And each one of them has this super shiny giant crystal called a soul future. And because they have the soul futures, everyone in the world has like these perfect happy lives. But then these monsters called voids start eating all the soul futures. Wow! And if they get all 9 soul futures, then the great void appears and ends the world. So, one by one, the voids are scarfing them all up and everybody's freaking out. It's so wild! Anyway, that's when the best warriors from all 9 countries team up to protect the last soul futures. They're called the 9 Soldiers, which is just the coolest name. And they all fight really hard to save the world from the voids. But then Luke,
raven-haired heathen!
Oh my.
And, it's just, I mean, well, you know. Where's that woman?
She made a rather hasty exit in that direction.
To where, though?
I'm unsure.
oh yeah, she's gone free at last!
Good afternoon, judges. We've all read the history and legends of creatures that used to walk this land side by side with us. Now, I've spent many long years reading and researching this very question. Did they really exist? According to my research, they look like this.
An expert biologist, and when this handsome fellow isn't traveling across the world doing research, he's at home, cooking a great meal?
But yeah, that's all true, but Sancho, where did you get that?
An excellent assistant knows how to write an excellent introduction. You got it, boss.
Or taking a long walk on the beach? Who wrote this mess?
Welcome everyone. Hopefully the volume on this time is good. I was rewatching, well, I wasn't rewatching, I was just searching for something I said about, a topic I put on, talked about last stream, and I noticed that my volume was low, and I checked it today because I checked it the other day to help somebody else on their stream check their volume and their mic, and found out that it was actually the setting you have under audio on here, which is like automatically adjust mic volume, and so it kept me low. And it was kind of like, so today I'm doing it 100%. Hopefully it's coming through clear. I actually have it like about 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters away from my face, the mic that is, because it's because between me and the mic I have this tablet, right? So I have the Syntec. And every now and then I kind of talk low because I'm trying to, concentrate. My brain just starts, thinking, oh, how it is when you're concentrating on something, it doesn't really, work right. The concentration was. So today we're going to be fixing this freaking. I did a huge stuff up on this whole, like 50% of the pages I did for this series here, which is Templeton, where I was actually doing the art, the coloring on the actual comic print size pages rather than the art pages that I was sent, which kind of really stuffed me up because now, it's the art, the colors are there, but they're not going to be as crisp when we go to printing. So now I have to go back and redo it and, reflect the colors to the actual art page, which is this page here. And you can see the size here. It's a bit blanked out because I'm loading the 42 page or the 44 page comic book, which I'm going to show you, which this is part of. And so I ended up, when I realized it was because of my artist on Howler said, hey, they're coming up very pixelated. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, the artwork's really pixelated. The colors you're giving me. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, let me just do it myself. I'm like, no, you carry on. I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. And I realized that I was actually coloring these things here on the actual pages and not the actual art page. So this looks really great on this size, right? But it's not going to be my crisp size that I like. That very beautiful colors coming through. Otherwise, you're going to have like, this little mess. See how this is all messed up here? You're going to get all this sort of dirt on there, the pixel dirt. So what I'm doing now is actually going across and trying to fix that all. Now, what did I just open up? Yeah, so that's this page, right? So this is what I'm working on here today. And you can see it's right away. I'm cleaning up all that, making sure there's no pixel dirt. So you can see here, some pages didn't even go right. And so this is the original. See all the dirt there? Dust, I would call it, but not dirt, but dust. And so here I've been cleaning that up so you can see it clear. But yeah, so all these pages that I've done are basically useless. So I've converted them back to the original art size and working on that, which is like, if you look here, this is 17.33 inches, right, by 25. That's a huge size, right? But that's the original size of the artwork, not this friggin' 10.5 by 7.0 inches by 10.5. And this is something that, like, if you are actually working on somebody's work as a colorist or something, work on the original art, then make the stupid mistake I did, and now I've got to go across and clean up. It's almost like redoing it, but really it's around the edges and stuff. But yeah, just as this, if you're starting out learning how to do color flatting and stuff, it's a good thing to learn. And also the other thing, let me see if I'm on the right one, get rid of that, is that, 17 by 3.33, is that when you get the ink page, one of my friends actually on here on YouTube, who I used to have on my other channel come on and stream with me as kind of like a co-host, was that he taught me that when you get this ink page come through for you, the first thing you want to do is you want to go down. Sorry, you can't see that on the screen because the drop down menu doesn't show up on the live stream. Is that you go down to edit and you go tonal correction, and then you choose binarization, right? And there it gives you a number which is like 127 or whatever it is. 127 is the middle, and then you click this, and this is on Clip Studio Paint, and you click this thing called Leave Transparency, right? So it's basically going to choose every white thing, every white color of whatever color you choose, and it's going to give you a choice of that. And so I'm choosing it here, and you'll see here it's chosen all the white, right? But you can also do that and then go a bit tighter, give it another 2 pixels, which will go right to the black, as you can see here, or the gray as possible. Hey Tim, So yeah, so that'll clean things up for you. And so when you choose that, you get rid of this, and now you have a nice crisp clear outline around the black. And then when you put the colors in, you don't see that dirty dust there anymore. And of course, you can do that over and over again, and that'll give you a nice clean lines. Now, this is at like the art size, you know, your artist will give you this, send you this across if you're a colorist, right? And that's what you do to clean that up. And now I can see where I need to go in and do a bit more tidying up in the colors, where I've dropped in the color. So it's nice and crisp, no pixel dirt. I know you're good, Tim. Pop on when you're ready, mate. Yeah, so I got to do that today, but I've got some really cool videos I want to watch today, like little short documentaries about you know, with art, with AI, with online protection, things, rules that are coming on, censorship and stuff while I'm doing this, because, you know, there's only so much you can talk about while you're coloring something. Also, Chip's going to come on as my co-host to keep things moving for you guys. Otherwise, I'm on the wrong screen trying to move my this little tab that's opened up and invite. You've got your link in the. Hold on. And on X, but here you go. All right, so yeah, so I've got a couple while I'm working on this, because you don't want to just see me looking at it, you know, the screen over and over again. Last week, Nathan said that transmitting from what was it called? Transmitting from Mars. He runs a vinyl live stream show where he plays a different vinyl live on stream, right? And so he said that while watching me bounce in and out on this while I was prepping, you know, this page on our excuse me, it's got kind of mouth all of a sudden. So while he was watching me zoom in and out while I was doing the lettering, he said it was quite hypnotizing. And I said, yeah, I was looking across and I was like, while searching some little bit of thing on the stream, that he found himself, you know, being hypnotized. And I was like, yeah, zooming in and out. It feels like, you know, you're moving a clock across somebody's face. Look at the time now. Look at it closely. You're getting sleepy. And it kind of felt like that, right? So I can understand that. So apologies for me because sometimes I end up going in and out real quick. So also, please follow us on Plant Gen Z on Kickstarter. We're going to be launching very early in 2026, which is only a couple of weeks away, right? A couple of months away. Our 4 comic books all at once to save you guys, our backers, our fans, supporters, whoever, you know, whatever, to help us, you know, to help you save on freight, but also get you to support us more, because it's going to give you a choice of 4 different comics that you could, you know, purchase and support us, rather than buying, you know, us putting up a campaign every couple of months and then having you guys, you know, pay extra every single time for freight. So I think I'm the first one to do that. I know a lot of people do want to, you know, for their first, but we're going to be doing 4 number 1s at the same time to save you 3 times the amount of, you know, freight costs by just buying, you know, whatever you want in your first campaign. Of course, we're going to be, you know, putting out a supernatural R18 comic book, you know, mature comic book, which is a horror about heaven and hell and soul collecting and crime, you know, and stuff like that. The other one we're going to be putting out, of course, is this The Tortoise manga. It's black and white, and it's read right to left, but not from the back to the front, because we, you know, some people, you know, I know a lot of people don't like that, but we still want to keep to the kind of like the principles, of manga. And so you'll find that it reads from right to left rather than left to right as we do in the West, right? As well as we're going to be releasing, of course, the Vertigo one on our publishers page, which is floating up, at the bottom here when the red, which is the profile there is Incredigo, and that number 2 is going to be coming out soon at the same time, actually. So you guys can actually go. I'm kind of actually trying to work it out that as a backer, you get the best deal that you can from us with supporting us. So 5 comics are coming at the same time. A number 2 from Incredigo, number 1 from the Tortoise, Templeton, Zeolandia, as well as I always forget Howler, right? And so hopefully you guys will go, well, hey, I backed Incredigo number 2 and 1 over there. Can you add that to the freight cost of this one here I'm backing over here? Because that way, I mean, there's no better deal going on crowdfunding that we're bringing, right? We're not trying to twist your arm to spend hundreds of dollars on freight costs, whereas rather than just going, hey man, this is the freight charge for 4 comic books sent to you in one package, right? And this is what it will be. So we got a bit of work on ourselves to go, well, okay, is it $15 for freight, and how much is it for overseas? I know for me to get a comic book from the US, it's around about $25 to $30 New Zealand, right? Which works out to be about $20 US. So I think if you guys were going, well, we're going to buy this book and this book and this book and this book, okay, but what's the flat fee, right? So I'm going to try to make sure that you guys as a backer get the best deal. And the other thing is we're putting up 44-page comic books, 36-page comic books, right, and 40-page comic books. So there's going to be a variance in the cost for printing for those, but I'm still going to try to keep it as low as possible, because at the end of the day, I am a comic fan as well and a comic buyer, right? And have been for over 35 years. It's only recently that I've stopped buying mainstream comics, but every week, I pick up, backlogs or whatever when I go around my wild hunts, as I say, looking at shops and stores, what they have on the shelves. I do still buy them, whether it's graphic novels, manga, or floppies, because it's been my passion for just about 35 plus years of my life, when I could actually buy them, right? Before that, it was probably, about 40 years. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old when I got into comics, but it was about 15 when I could actually afford buying my own comics. Because I didn't, as a kid, I never got, I got everything provided, but I didn't get pocket money unless it was very, very necessary. I had to do it at school or something. Now, waiting on Tim here. Hopefully, he's going to pop on. But if not, let's get to what some videos while we wait. So this is a pretty cool. I was looking at this just earlier, and I thought, you know what, might as well just stream this while I'm, while we're here, while I do some work, because this is actually a first world country helping a third world country without just handing them money. The worst thing you can do to a third world country is just give them money, because millions and millions, like from USAID, right, we found out, went out, and really most of it goes into corruption, corrupt politics and organizations who just use that to promote stuff that you, even as a taxpayer whose money's going into these countries, you don't even support that, right? You don't even believe in that, yet you are paying for that overseas. As was found out when they did the whole Doge thing, right? And that made a lot of foreign, what would you call it? Western taxpayers realize that, hey, this is not cool, man. Like, why am I paying into this thing why are these politicians sending all my money to do this, promote all this stuff overseas when I don't even believe in that? Like, it's going against everything I stand for. But they didn't ask me if they could send my money over. So a lot of these things actually upset a lot of people, right? And so there was a big hoo-ha. But here's something that Japan's done, which, man, like, really is like amazing. So I am going to put on, I think they do have closed caption, whatever, on here, but subtitles. But it's kind of small. But let's see if we can get it like big enough so that it's watchable for you. And the other interesting thing about this is that this is Nepal, right? It's around about India, close to India, like Tibet and all that. And so watching Nepal, which is kind of like Asian Indian, like, and I mean Oriental Indian. I don't mean like Asian, like in brown skinned people, right, or so on. But like, I mean Asian, like in Oriental. They're very light skinned. So you'll notice that they speak Hindi. Well, I notice that they speak Hindi, and I'm like, wait, I understand everything they say apart from a couple of words. And I'm on the other side of the world in New Zealand now, but my forebears are from Fiji in the South Pacific, which is like a 3-hour plane ride, across the ocean. And so we actually still speak that language, and we have forever, right? For about over 150 years now. No, 160 years now since we've been in Fiji. Since 1830, I think it was 1835 or something around that. We've been in Fiji. It's a race. So this is about traditional art form, which is why I thought it would be cool to watch. So let's do this.
High in the mountains of one of Asia's poorest countries, farmers are turning a shrub into paper used for Japan's money supply. Most of Asia has gone digital, but Japan still uses yen for nearly half of its transactions. For centuries, it relied on the crop grown at home, until the supply dried up a few decades ago. So it turned to Nepal, where ardgali, a once low-value shrub, grows wild. This new demand from Japan is turning it into a cash crop and revitalizing villages across Nepal. With plastic banknotes on the rise, why are some countries still sticking with paper? And what will happen to Nepal's new big business in a cashless future? Ramesh Rai has been harvesting ardgali for 25 years. For centuries, the shrub was used in Nepal to make paper for government documents and religious texts, but demand abroad was limited.
I just remembered. So right now in Nepal, there's a huge uprising with Gen Z against the communists there. And it's been, there was a news that come out, just like it's happening in Mexico as well, that people are getting fed up with socialism. And so, well, especially young, right? And so they've basically been protesting in the hundreds of thousands across there. And that was the same thing last year or earlier this year with Sri Lanka as well. And that's been, their government was toppled as well because of that. All right.
Changed in the 1980s when Japan experienced a shortage of Mitsumata, a plant used to make yen. Supply began declining as harvesters left the trade for other work. Looking for a new source, Kampo Inc., a Japanese paper supplier, discovered ardgali growing abundantly in Nepal and saw it as a potential lifeline for producing yen.
日本が救われると思ったんではないかなと思います。
Like Japan's Mitsumata, Nepal's crop is durable and can be harvested every few years, ensuring a steady supply.
र छिटो पनि बढ्छ र ठुलो पनि हुन्छ यहाँ अरु जग्गामा जस्तो मसिनो हुँदैन ठुलो ठुलो हुन्छ यहाँ चाहिँ
Compost sent specialists to Nepal starting in 2015 to help farmers boost yields and improve the quality of their harvests.
成分の量、あと異物の混入であるとかいうので、かなり厳しい基準がございます。
Kampo taught Nepalese farmers how to steam the bark instead of peeling it raw, so that the outer part would be easier to strip off. They also use new stripping machines to remove the top layer of bark, leaving behind just the inner part used to make paper.
So just think about this, right? Like I mentioned earlier, that like if you just give money to poor people, you know, most of it ends up in corruption, politicians lining their pocket, you know, whatever else. But here, Japan, in their wisdom, because Japanese people are quite wise, right? They're traditional, they've learned, you know, their history and all that. So rather than giving a man a fish, right, you know, and feeding them for a day, they go in there, they teach them how to fish, right? In this case, how to look after the paper, how to make it work, because, you know, it's better to teach someone how to do something the right way than to leave them to figure it out themselves, right? I know a lot of people go, well, you know, these, you know, why are you interfering with the way they're doing things? But really, at the end of the day, if you have the knowledge to impart and they're willing to listen, then why not teach them how to fish, right? And look at, you know, this whole steaming process allows them to actually do things faster and get a better yield of their paper, right? Of their wood and bark for paper and so on. And I always think it's stupid, like, there's like people who are totally ignorant who always straight away think that like the way of the old way of doing things is much better because that's the way they used to do it forever and ever, you know. And ethnic people should be left to their own thing because their old ways are the best ways, and you know, such and such. No, not really, because to be honest, if the old were so good, why are they using medicine now? Just still use the old friggin', you know, potions and chemicals and stuff. Right? Why support yourself with modern medicine? Why use modern medicine? So I think a lot of people, you know, especially Westerners who don't even know what it's like to live in a third world country or even in the South Pacific, you know, out here or in Asia, they really have a big mouth about things they don't know nothing about. But because they're, you know, they have the platforms, they think that, you know, whatever they say is, you know, whatever they read, you know, because some local activist probably brought it up, is the way to do things. But here, these Nepalese, you know, wisely listen to the Japanese, and they, you know, they allow them to actually profit. And we'll see what this interaction with Japan coming to this Nepalese people and saying, look, man, can we work with you guys and help, you know, and you can provide some stuff and you guys can make a living of it, and for, you know, for generations, if you keep up with this, you know, if you provide what we need, and we, you know, we'll support you financially because we'll buy this product you have. So the whole idea is that teach a man to fish rather than hand a man to fish, right?
It's the inner part used to make paper.
जिससे आप मान लो कि 75% कचरा चला जाएगा.
A few rounds of soaking the plant makes it easier for workers to peel off the rest of the outer bark by hand.
आराम से करेगा, अच्छा करेगा, जो अच्छा है वो जाता है, जो खराब जो ऐसा है ना, ये वाला नहीं जाता, ये सब फेंकना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, ये इसका ये दाग है जो अच्छा भी नहीं है, क्योंकि इधर तिलकोठी है ना, तिलकोठी का कारण इसका अच्छा नहीं बनता है.
Workers lay out the bark in the sun. If it's cloudy, it can take 2 days to dry out. This is an important step to prevent mold growth and reduce the weight of the adagali during transport. When Campo first started training farmers, Japan rejected 20% of their adagali. But now,
今はもうほぼ 99% 皆さん永久品で納めていただいております。
Nepal went from producing 30 tons of adagali in 2012 to 150 tons a year. Ramesh can earn up to $2,800 annually. That's double the amount he used to earn from corn and potatoes. And he can sell his adagali for 5 times what it was worth before the Japanese market.
मैले कहिले पनि सोचेको थिइनँ जापानमा नेपालदेखि लगेको अल्गेरीले पैसा बन्छ भनेर चाहिँ सोचेको थिइनँ.
The farmer's adagali passes through ports in Kathmandu and Kolkata, India, before reaching Japan. Japan's National Printing Bureau turns the raw materials into banknote paper.
Is that so? And just where did you draw that conclusion from?
I don't see you on the screen, bud.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I played you. No, I mean, you don't have to be on screen. I mean, like, I don't even see you actually on the...
I'm actually backstage, I guess.
There we go. Now I got you now.
All
right. Okay, we're gonna put you up because this this setup is a bit wonky for. Let me move this up. Am I getting? Hold on. Apologies, guys. Let me just reset this setup layout here.
Yeah.
They're gonna work.
I had no idea you were even on. I thought I didn't even get a notice. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like,
So I guess maybe like keep that in mind when you give me kind of like a day in advance heads up so I can, or maybe a schedule so I can kind of write it down on my own. I have a planner where I keep schedules for things I need to remember. Yeah.
Are you on a mobile? I'm just like watching your screen. It's like weird shape on my See, why is it? Oh, okay. It's if I'm on that, then it's doing that.
Oh yeah, I'm actually at my parents' house, so I'm kind of in the guest room right now.
Okay. You can go off screen if you want, but I mean, I just.
So how you been?
Yeah. You don't have to be live if you don't want. I mean, like, you don't have to be on the screen. On cam. That's the word. If you want. And I think he is stalled.
Oh.
All right, let's carry on with this. So let's go back a bit to the printing process.
Japan. Japan's National Printing Bureau turns the raw materials into banknote paper. The yen are printed in sheets and given security features like holograms. Machines cut out individual notes. Then they're packaged up. Every year, this mint produces about 3 billion bills for the Bank of Japan. The country has long valued physical currency. Its first copper coins date back to 708. But by the 9th century, metal shortages and counterfeiting pushed the country to trade rice and silk instead. In the 12th century, it adopted Chinese coins, which were widely trusted across East Asia. In the early 1600s, Japan began minting its own gold, silver, and copper coins to stabilize trade and regain control over its economy. By the mid-1800s, after centuries of isolation, it decided it needed a modern currency to keep pace with Western powers like Britain and the US. Japan started printing its yen made with the Mitsumata shrub in the 1870s.
That's really the time period when a lot of countries around the world started issuing paper currency. People are starting to organize themselves into what would become nation states.
That's Bill Maurer, who's been studying currency for 25 years.
One of the ways that you advertise your existence as a nation state is through things like a flag or an anthem, but also banknotes, territorial currencies.
In the 20th century, war and bank failures in Japan led many people to keep their savings in cash.
People hold on to cash because of its anonymity, because of its privacy, and also for populations that experienced wartime trauma, because it always works, right? When the electricity goes out or the network goes down, your banknotes are always going to work.
For centuries, paper was the default for banknotes around the world, typically made from cotton and linen. But in 1988, Australia broke the mold, becoming the first country to issue plastic-based bills to combat counterfeiting and extend the life of cash. Over the next several decades, dozens of other countries replaced paper with polymer in their bills.
There's pluses and minuses to each of them. The people who are designing polymer banknotes almost forget that human beings use them, and human beings are forgetful and sloppy, and they're going to run them through the laundry, or they're going to keep them in a wallet in the glove compartment and expose them to extreme heat, and they might melt.
Despite this, plastic banknotes last 2.5 times longer than paper ones. Plastic bills are typically harder to counterfeit, thanks to security features like see-through windows, holographic foils, and color-shifting metallic films. But paper notes have security advantages too.
Any kind of note made out of an organic substrate has a particular kind of feel, and that's useful because the way that most cash handlers detect counterfeits is by the touch, not so much by sight.
That feel, along with Japan's long tradition of papermaking, is why the country stayed loyal to paper when it introduced a new banknote in 2024.
And people like it in part because it's part of an artistic heritage.
一つ大きな脱プラスチックが叫ばれてるっていうのもあったかと思うんです。
Most of us who are interested in Japan are talking about these new yen notes, especially these impressive holographic images.
The bills feature 3D holograms and special marks to help the visually impaired.
This area, it has like this friction that you can literally feel.
The new bills are made from Nepal's argeli.
The whole reason that argeli was selected is because when you make paper out of the pulp from the bark of that plant, it gives the same kind of touch, it gives the same feel as the traditional paper that they were using in Japan.
Before the yen market reached these villages, many people in this region left.
So, this is what I mean by the art side of things, right? The fact that you can feel, that you can touch, that you can see and hold, right?
Right.
What's been created. Because with digital, you can't do any of that. And
it's not as satisfying.
Yeah, and like if I see a digital comic, I can read it, that's it. It means nothing. But once I've finished my artwork and I have it printed and I hold it in my hand and go, wow, this is actually real, right? It actually has happened. It's printed. And I think the sad part of this is that they want to get rid of physical currency and go into digital. But the other side of digital is that it can be corrupted, it can be stolen so easily, right? And the banks, with the press of a button, can wipe that out, and you have no idea how to find your money.
I think having both is a good compromise, because like they said, if something were to happen war-wise, there's those things are still tangible.
Yeah.
Just like
with the modern world, right, where you could probably just hack the friggin' banking system, and it's all your savings are wiped out. But if you have physical money at home, people can't wipe that out, right?
Right. Well, I mean, we want to go back to comic books. I don't have any problem with digital as long as you can print it out on a printer, and then you got a physical copy of some sort.
Yeah.
So, and some people just can't afford to get it from, if there's a book they like from somewhere far away, they can't afford that. So, I got no problem with that.
It's always good to put out digital at the same time, because you got to give people a choice, right?
Right. That's people are so quick to jump onto the next thing. It's like, well, older traditional ideas are still, as long as you update them for a modern era, because going backwards is not good either. So, because it's like there's certain creators who who are like, they're getting in their 60s or something, and they want to go back to a time period before modern era comic books, and like, well, that doesn't exist anymore. You can't go backwards, but doesn't mean you can't take what once was and modernize it for a younger audience.
Right.
Right. But they don't want to do that. They want to go back to a time that's familiar because that's when they were more relevant. And I hate to say that, but that's how they do it. I have.
It made them relevant. It made them important.
You're right. It's a time period that makes more sense to them.
Right.
But
sorry.
I don't have. I have no. I don't want to go back to the 90s because the 90s aren't there anymore. I do like my comic books are kind of of the 90s because that's when I thought them up. But I have no problem modernizing them a little bit for a newer audience as long as it's good for the story. So I guess people need to balance the two.
Right. So I was watching a documentary. Well, not so much a documentary, but an essay, a video essay about the Sears, whatever it was, like the company, right? The multi-billion-dollar company, and how it failed. And from its birth way back in the 1800s to the 1980s and so on, and to recently. And they should have been the Amazon, right, of this day and age, but they chose not to be because they got rid of their catalog system. All the information they had on their catalogs, they could have just transferred online, but they decided to stop it altogether. And so they got destroyed by Amazon because they shot themselves in the foot.
They did it too quickly.
That was the basis of their, company, which was the catalog system. I mean, if you guys know, I mean, Americans know Sears well more than we do here in New Zealand. We never had Sears, but the whole
Toys R Us catalog.
catalog. So, sometimes with technology, if you don't move with it, take what you've created, previous to technology, onto technology, and then you could, that was like they were making something like around about $80 billion a year.
Right.
Again, almost when Amazon showed up, $50 billion on Amazon, and then within like a couple of years, it was the other way around. Amazon was making 80 billion and a year, and then Sears was making 30 billion, and then in the end, they just went under. They filed for bankruptcy.
Right. Well, how do you feel about a friend of mine recently took his book and then like animated it, panel by panel with AI. It's still he still drew it, but it's just animated with AI.
I don't know, man. At this point, I know it's going to come, and everybody's going to jump on there. But it's still, if your comic is not physical, then people are just going to go, well, it's probably just all done with AI now, isn't it? Even if you've drawn it, right? Even if you've drawn it, people will still say it's probably AI. You never want to give people a reason to guess whether it's real or not. And I remember saying that to, I think it was Mark Miller, who's way more advanced, way more talented, way more skilled than I will ever be at this stage of my life. And I said, look, you don't want to ruin your legacy by moving over to AI, because once you do that, people would doubt anything else you do.
I see.
Once doubt gets into people's heads, they'll question you, and a lot of people are seeing that now with comic book artists who are just doing that, like in New Zealand, right? So there was a competition. Just let me find the link, because it's since we're on there. So there was a. Let me see if I can find it. I think it might be on. There was a book awards, a New Zealand literature novel book awards, right? And what they did was a lot of books were disqualified from the awards because they had AI artwork on the cover. So all the hard work these guys had put in meant nothing because the cover was AI.
Right, but that's because I would say that's because they had all the AI do the heavy lifting. I mean, if you use it to animate your drawings that already exist, they aren't AI. I mean, I'm not an animator.
Yeah.
So I kind of almost don't see that as cheating. I see creating a property out of nothing but AI would be cheating. I mean, it's a tool, right? It should be just a tool, not the means to create. Right?
Okay. So let me. I think it's this one here. I get that. I really honestly get that, right? But the thing here is that where is this friggin' link? Come on. It's not. Why is I hate it when they don't when it doesn't pop to. Oh, here we go. Come on, man. This stupid post they do on Facebook that doesn't open up into a new link, and it just stuck like a tag within a tag. So this is just from this week, I think. So let me remove this the money thing for that. This. Okay. Right. So top writers ruled out of New Zealand book awards. So check this out.
I don't see anything.
You're not seeing anything?
No.
I'm not sure what you're looking at, but it's on the screen. So
I see it now.
Yeah. So
all right.
Here we go. So move this across here, get me to the right page. So top writer, for those who are listening and not watching, this is what it says from radionewzealand.co.nz Facebook page. Website. Top writers ruled out of New Zealand book awards due to AI covers. For the first time, AI regulations have been applied to the Ockham. Is that how you say it? Ockham New Zealand Book Awards, including every detail from cover to cover. So you got obligate carnivore, right? As a cat.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
See, that makes sense to me. They didn't necessarily draw. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those listening,
they didn't necessarily draw those covers.
Yeah. So there's two books covers here shown, which is Stephanie Johnson, her book Obligate Carnivore, and then there's Elizabeth Smithers, two women, Angel Train, 4 novellas, right? So two books by distinguished authors have been ruled out of New Zealand's premier literary prize because the covers were generated with AI, right? So
wait, were they comic book creators or were they writers?
No, these are novels.
Did they write novels?
These are book awards.
So here's the question I have about that is you're supposed to read those. The pictures are not. So why is that an issue if they're just writers?
Because
as long as AI didn't write the inside of the book.
How do you know though?
Right. That's another good question.
Right.
Right.
So that's what happens. If your book cover is AI, how come, and you're advertising that, and that's your advertisement for your book, what's to say your inside is an AI as well? What's to say you didn't write something and put it through AI to fix it, right? To make it better, to make it more pop, whatever you want to call it. So
right. I get that too.
Yeah, so these two are supposed to be, I've never heard of them because I don't, read books. So these two are distinguished New Zealand writers. So here's the prize that they were removed from getting, right? The Prime Minister's Literary Awards were removed from the contention, $65,000, right? for the awards, right? Which is like around about, I guess, about 40K, 55K US. Right? The New Zealand Book Awards Trust, which run the awards, said a book suspected organizers, upon which Christchurch-based publisher Quentin Wilson confirmed it. So yeah. So
Is there a way for them to test? Is there a way for them to test if a novel has been improved but with AI?
Yeah, you just put it through AI. Go, what part of this is written by AI? I did that with images. When I see images come through.
That's actually kind of funny. Like we suspect this of having AI in it. Let's use AI. That's funny.
So I'll leave that for you guys and to check out. The links there in the chat and on the screen.
Yeah.
So this is what's the proper way to deal with AI, right? With these people who are cheating. Rather than getting someone to do a book cover, which like one of our friends did it.
That shouldn't be hard to do. That shouldn't be hard to do, to find an artist and say, hey, I need this for a book cover. Pay one, you're only paying for one illustration.
Exactly.
Coloring and all that. Yeah. I understand that. But what about animation? Animating is a different creature altogether.
Well, you got CGI there, right? CGI's been used in animation, which people don't like at all. I don't like CGI animation unless it's done properly, because most of the time it's not done properly.
Right. So there's good CGI and then there's bad CGI.
Well, it all depends. People like you to actually do things yourself. If I'm going to pay for something, I want you to do it yourself. Right? If you're going to call yourself an artist, I expect you to create that artwork, not just chuck it into AI,
Right.
and have it do it for you.
Bob's your uncle. You got something. I see. I get that part too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? So, from a personal experience with one of our friends, he actually paid someone to do an AI cover for his from the US because he's got a publisher in the US for his book. I have that sitting on my shelf, and we were really pissed off when we found out it was AI. After having bought it,
you felt cheated.
Listen, because he didn't reach out to any of us local artists to say, "Hey, dude, can you, I'm doing a book. Here's what I got in mind. Can you please draw up something, and and I can choose which one I like, and we'll, have you paint it up or something." Here locally, we have thousands of artists, right? We're a very strong art community here in Whangarei, where I live. Even in Northland, there's thousands of artists, painters. One of our friends is a world-class airbrush artist based here. She's been in magazines. She's been on top, American airbrush artist awards. Certificates beyond trophies, beyond whatever, right? Magazine covers, interviews all around the world. She could have done this cat cover, right, easily with airbrush, with her hands on her own, artwork, would have done it. Yet here there's this person, because they, took the quick thing. Oh, look, hey, draw me a cat with human teeth with blood coming out on the left side of his mouth, or right side of his mouth, staring straight at the screen. And there she goes. So despite her calling herself an artist, right? A creative person as an author, she cheats and rather than pay another artist to do the cover, or even a publisher would pay for it, right? She wouldn't even have to pay for it. The publisher would have paid for it and would have come out of the sales of the book. She would rather just, do it through AI. And I'm laughing at this because it's like, yeah, you deserve all the mockery you get for doing this, because now nobody's going to trust you, because now that you've said that you've already used art and here you've got them on your cover, AI, you've got them cover, nobody's going to trust you that your book work, because you're already compromised, that we can now trust you to do any writing yourself, right?
I see. What about using AI for concept ideas? So if you're trying to think of some ideas, as long as an artist draws whatever ideas you come up with changes here and there.
That's fine because you're using it as a tool, right? AI is
Right,
supposed to be a
right.
tool, not a creative thing itself.
Right. It shouldn't be used to replace creative artwork. I agree with
Right.
that.
Because somebody's got to pay for that, right? I mean, the whole point of you doing an artwork, unless it's just a hobby thing, you're going to be selling that.
Yeah. Well, right now for me, it's just a side hustle. I'm trying to make it something that will one day maybe replace how I make money.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be you're going to have the suspicion. People will think, yeah, well, I don't think that guy's doing it himself, and you're going to cut out. And this is I've seen this happen to another artist where once he started a comic book creator, once he started saying, "Oh, look what I can do with this other artist's cover art," right? And when I put it through AI, without even asking that guy for permission, right? Because I would highly doubt a professional comic book artist would give permission for someone who's a writer, right? To say, hey man, you can put my art through AI, right? You can put it through that generative engine. Yeah. But I don't think that would have happened because I know I would never do that to somebody else's work and go, hey, I'm going to put this and then I'm going to put this on my cover and then I'm going to promote it. And now you don't get paid for the extra work that I've used your artwork for. Honestly, that's what I think has really cost them. And to be honest, I think a lot of people don't think about the human side of things where people go, what? So now that you're going to do that with my art, who else's art are you going to do that with, right? You did that with that guy's art. Are you going to do that with my art? I'm not going to work with you anymore.
Right. See, I see that too.
Yeah, because I think people don't think about the human brain and how we are very suspicious when people, cheat or once bitten, twice shy, right? That's the whole thing about this.
Yeah. Well, that's why in the U.S. you can't. And I try to tell people this. If somebody's doing that and that's like people quote unquote call themselves artists, but they use AI. So you can't copyright that if you're in the U.S. You can't send that to a.
Oh no, you can't copyright that anywhere.
The Library of Copyrights will reject it right off the bat.
Yeah.
And people don't listen to me when I tell them that.
But people keep doing it because they know there's people who don't have time to find out if it's their art or if it's actual, human made or not. And that's what most of these AI, tech bros are basically, or whatever, are trying to make money of it because they think because people are either not aware or they don't have the time to check it out, they can get away with it. Like people are selling these AI shit for about $1,000 to people who don't know it's AI, right?
Yeah. Also, they're lazy and they don't want to learn how to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when it hit the market. It's finally they're kind of mocking people who are creative because now they can't be elitist about it. I'm like, the people who are good at it, they're not being elitist. They're just telling you you're a hack. I mean, I tried for years. From when I was small to maybe 5 years ago, I tried drawing. I even drew my own book and put it on lulu.com and just I'm okay, I guess, but I'm not good enough to run with the big dogs. So I decided, well, I might as well just be a writer. I was bummed out for probably 2 days, but I kind of thought about it well, I can be almost like the creator, the writer. It's almost like being a director, and I can hire artists to kind of. They're my they're my actors, and I'm the director.
Right. I mean, they're the talent, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're the talent. We're the producers, and they get to create and be part of what we're producing. And you're right, it's basically like making a film.
Yeah, I mean, like, as long, I mean, I give my artists, I give Sid a lot of good creative freedom as long as it fits the continuity. Like, but I'll tell him to redraw something if it's like, wait a minute, he had a pistol in the holster, and then like the next panel he doesn't. Fix that.
Because I mean, that's the thing about because you're doing so much stuff, you miss some stuff, and it happens all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's a biggie. You just like once you get everything in front of you, you can check what's missed, what isn't, because sometimes that artist isn't doing it like the next thing, as he's doing it like weeks or months later, because he's been doing other pages at the same time. And that
I've even had that issue with. Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, so I had my artist put a door in the wrong way, like probably about a month back. Actually, no, about 6 months earlier, right? Because we were working on and off on the project, and then just like as we're going to finalize, he goes, "Oh, dude, sorry I took a bit of time, but I realized I put the door on the wrong side of the car," and I'm like, "I didn't even notice." Right? I'm like, I did not even notice, and I'm looking at it all the time, as I'm doing a lettering, and I didn't notice. So those things, that can happen easy, and I think and then people go, well, your artists make mistakes. Yeah, dude, that's why we call it editing, right? That's why we got to put looking over the work to make it better, because we got to have other people look at it, because when we're staring at the same thing over and over again, it's so easy to make mistakes.
Oh, I mean, same thing with sometimes editors make that mistake too, because I mean, I have to. I don't consider a script complete until I run it through an editor.
Yeah.
So, and I had a numerous. Well, I had like maybe 3 or 4 proofreaders too, but there was a scene that changed because it's supposed to be like there's a part of issue 4 that was supposed to take place at night, but the artwork didn't really look like it took place at night. So I didn't want to change that. So I was going to have the script, kind of like take out any reference to nighttime or.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're and then I realized that the people who were editing forgot to do that. So me and another editor had to kind of go through that and kind of change, and it was a simple change, but I hadn't noticed it for most of this year. So good thing it's good thing we got that done, because as much as the book is getting worked on art wise, it's slowly getting lettered. So like 7 pages have been lettered, but the rest are still I should be having 3 more pages done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming along.
Cool. I finished. Well, I did my. Let me show you. So it's probably show not tell, right? So let me just save this. What I'm working on, and I'll. Oh yeah. By the way, guys, if you're just joining us, this is what I'm showing on screen. Is these 2 artists went up for writers, well-known New Zealand writers, right? Novelists, whose work went up for a award for about 50,000 US, I think it is, $65,000 New Zealand, and they all were kicked out of it because they had AI covers, horrible AI covers, right? And these 2 will now be known as AI, like in your brain, like would never be trusted. Well, I would never trust their work going forward, right? Because they use AI for that. What's to say they won't use AI for their? Let me bring in what I'm working on for their writing. So the stench, that's what I'm trying to get at. The stench of AI is now connected to them forever. So what I'm working on, or today I'm working on coloring, but what I was saying earlier, yesterday I handed over to Joachim to go out and finish off his part of the writing for the book he's colored and illustrated, which is Fantastical Romi. It's a 40-page comic book with about 32 pages of art, like story. So it's quite a big comic book, you know, with art-wise and storytelling. So I'm just waiting for my foot to load, and I'll show you this this entire comic book setup here, right? So this is it here. So you've got this entire comic book setup here. Let me just, so you got the cover, which is, this is like the B cover, right? The variant cover. And so we're approaching a comic book artist to actually hopefully write a forward, and this is where they put information on forward page. That's why it's blank. I've got to email him first and see if the one we've chosen, the artist chose, will will be okay with writing it forward. So this is all the lettering done. I turned it into a PDF and sent it across to Joachim, the writer and the artist, the colorist on this book, to do his bit, which is write an anatomy of a cover, which is this one here. A bit of information about how he chose this and whatever. Let me go over here. We can see this. His pencils, deciding how to ink it, and why he, all the choices he made on there. So that's why I got a note for him. Say, hey, Joachim, can you write some text for like the idea behind it in the process, right? Spelling mistakes doesn't matter. It's just he understands what I'm saying, right? So then we've got the map, and then we've got like kind of a page with history. So it's not, we don't have too much back matter on this. As you can see, it's only 4 pages of back matter, and one of them is basically a lattice page promoting our future books. And then the back cover's got a cover of another book that we're putting out. The reason I put this one on the back, sorry, you can't see that too big there, is because this is a page, this is a cover that Joachim himself did. So not only, he's got the front cover, he's got the back cover of his artwork. So here, this took me a while to write, and I've still got to get him to like edit it, and for for grammar and spelling mistakes to go through. So history of the arrival of the forest elves, how Rastria became the elves' homes, and then of course a bit about Anastasius, the first Elven ruler of Zeolandia, and also when the elves arrived, when the light elves arrived, and when the human race arrived, right? In this fantasy world filled of demi-humans, beasts, dryads, beastmen, fairies, dwarves, and all that. Pop out of there. So we go full so we can see a bit more. Actually, let me get rid of that one. So yeah, so this is the cover I was talking about, the back page. So this is another, comic that we've got ready to now go to the kind of like the final review and finishing process before we get to go for the final review, which is like handed out to a couple of people, the PDF with the forward in there, with Joachim's writing, addition to it, and then also, showing what other making sure that even after it's gone through Joachim and my spelling and grammar checks, we're still going to go through another grammar check and spelling check. So you've got the leads here. You got Romi and her counterpart Romalina from the fantasy world. This is a cover for issue 2 that we've done. You got a mermaid there, and also, a headshot design from the co-lead, which is Gramzel Dragonoid. And then we've got, put up some magic circles that I've designed, all designed, literally by me. And there's like something about 50 of them, 35 to 50 I've designed for different levels and for different people. And of course, they've got the covers for the Tortoise manga, and then you've got the Incredible #2, the All Ages superhero comic book. That's the A cover. There's about 3 different covers for variants. And then this is like the, I think this is the A cover. Oh no, this is like the B cover to Templeton #1. The A cover is a joining cover, so there's all 6 A covers joined together to make one big, huge poster, single image for the A cover. So you don't have to buy like variant covers to make them join up. There's something that decide like, well, that's better than like making a C cover that you got to pay $20, $30 or $40 for to make join up. So just buying the A cover at whatever price, I think it's about $15, because these are like, it's a 44-page book, or depending, I'm not sure what the publisher's going to price it out at, because we don't know what the printing is going to be. We'll know soon, but right now, not aware. But there's some amazing, art that's in here that Iwakim did and designed, colored himself. Battle scenes, dragons going off on themselves, off on themselves, fighting, all right, and so on. All right, so here's the thing, right? So if I was like, since we're talking about AI, if I then decide like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to put this through an AI generator, and then say Iwakim's artwork, and go, oh, it's going to look really cool now, and that basically puts into Iwakim's work that I don't trust him as an artist, right? That would, I should say, and then that would also put a word out, to everybody else in the art scene, comic artist scene, to say, wait, this dude is probably going to put my work through AI. I don't want to work with them, man. That's something that people don't really think about when they start doing this to artists' works by putting them through generative AI, right? What do you think about that, Tim? You're muted, bud. Yeah. Hello? Yep, I think you're still muted. Anyway, so let me pop this off and I'll go back to coloring and I'll bring on the rest. We'll go back to watching the awesome help that Japan's been doing with Nepalese people and using their shrubs, right? Basically, it's just it's not like a very heavy use timber. These are just like shrubbery that they're turning into paper for the Japanese yen.
Before the yen market reached these villages, many people in this region left home to find work in India or the Middle East. Those who stayed had to trek to faraway markets to sell their goods.
पहिला यहाँ त दुःख हुन्थ्यो अब गाडीको बाटो पनि थिएन अब अहिले चाहिँ अब प्रशस्तै काम गर्न सक्दाखेरि खेती गर्न सक्दाखेरि हुन्छ.
Now, with rising demand for Ardgali and new roads being funded by the Nepali government, villages are seeing renewed growth.
तर अब म खुसी पनि छु एक प्रकारले किनभने यहाँको मान्छेले.
Isn't that awesome, man? Just because Japan wanted paper and taught these guys to how to process their paper that wood and the shrubs for paper more easily, the government now goes and funds roads to be built to these villages, right? And then of course, you got to like, oh, now we'll make sure there's electricity there, make sure that they've got everything they need to provide this wood for export, right? This pulp for export. And so just because of a tree in another country, in a village, now in a third world country, now they're able to get so much benefit from it, even to the point of a better roads, because Japan decided to, had a need for their wood.
रोजगार गर्न पाएको छ उनीहरूले यहाँ काम गर्दाखेरि सबै परिवारसँग बस्न पाएको छ खुसी नै छु म पनि त्यसमा चाहिँ
By growing Argali exclusively, Ramesh is able to employ about 50 people, the majority of which are locals.
अहिले फाइदा छ अहिले धेरै हुन्छ अनि काम गर्ने मान्छेहरूले पनि पहिला काम गर्न जान्थेन मैले 5 तर अनि झापातिरको मान्छे लिएर काम गराउँथे अहिले चाहिँ सबै गाउँकै मान्छेले गर्छ काम पाएको छ उनीहरूले पनि काम गाउँलेहरूले पनि काम पाएको छ उनीहरू पनि खुसी छ म पनि खुसी नै छु मेरो व्यवसाय चलेको छ
But how long will this boom last if Japan ditches cash? Japan's cashless rate more than tripled over the past decade to about 43% in 2024, and the government aims to raise it to 80%.
心配はネパールの生産者とともに我々も非常に危惧しているポイントであります。
Kampo is working to get Argali farmers to produce other products for Japan too.
今筆頭でやってますのがわさびです。
Farmers like Tikaram Katiwara say they're ready if the demand for Argali dips. He's already prioritizing other crops that he can harvest more frequently, like kiwi. But demand for cash probably won't go away completely. Nearly a third of Japan's population is over 65. Older generations grew up in a cash-first economy, and many are still more comfortable with it. And Japan's near-zero interest rates mean bank savings earn almost nothing.
It's very important for a country's security to have a well-functioning cash cycle in case of conflict, trauma, hurricanes, floods, that kind of a thing. So even if it were to become less cash dependent, which I don't think that it would, the central bank is probably still going to encourage people to keep some cash on hand.
日本のためにネパールの方が一生懸命働いていただいて日本の経済を支えているという現状をもう世界の皆様に私は知っていただきたい。
नेपालीले पैसा त आर्जन गर्न पायो नि त त्यो एउटा गौरवको विषय हो
मलाई खुसी नै लाग्छ अब हामीले गरेको हाम्रो सानो देश गरिब देश अब त्यहाँ त्यस्तो अब हरेक कुरामा अगाडि गएको देशले चाहिँ हामीले गरेको खेतीले उनीहरुको पैसा बन्छ भन्दा हामीलाई खुसी नै लाग्छ
There was another one that I had set up, but let me see if I can. Oh yeah, so there's a new website that's set up called I Am Human, and this is to promote, and this is the link here. This is to promote human art. Have you seen this, Tim? I think you should pop out and pop back in. Might be something wrong on your end. You're not muted, but no sound is coming through. So I joined this, and they were sending out like 150. This isn't like alpha at the moment. It's just starting out. So I wasn't. So what they did was like they sent out on like links out to on Facebook saying, hey, look, we got in together to promote human-made AI and artists, and so that let me see where here we go. And so creatives who are against, not against, but like want to promote and differentiate themselves away from anybody being known as someone who uses AI, but be seen as someone who actually uses who does it themselves rather than using AI. So you've got a whole bunch of artists have joined up, and I'm one of the early ones who've joined up to this. So you get some really cool work here, being shown by artists, from around the world who've joined up to say, like this dude here, Soul Good Sam, showing off his work, his first work, because at the moment they want to confirm that you are, that you are a creator and so on, and that you're actually a human creator. So I'm there with, I put up this chibi that I did a while back for this comic that I'm working on now. This one here, as a cover that I was mucking around when I was trying to get my my creative juices flowing, because mostly I'm doing lettering, producing, editing, and designing onto comic books. I'm not actually doing the artwork itself. So so I ended up putting that up to show that I am a human artist and I do not use AI. So you've got a whole bunch of people here who've joined that. So pop in there with iamhuman.art and you'll be able to see who are the actual artists you can trust when if you're looking to reach out for commission work. And so that is iamhuman.art. Just checking with I don't see you in the back room. Sorry. Now I see you. Might as well get rid of that message. Okay. You're back. Cool. Yeah. So have you seen this site?
No, I have. I didn't even know it existed. I'm pretty. Do you submit your artwork and it says if it's AI or not?
No. This is about human. It's a site for human artists.
Oh, okay.
So if you go look at somebody's work, I would love to get you to join us and so on, right? Do a commission for me or do a cover or whatever, and you'd like someone to do something for you. You can actually you know already this is a human artist that's been verified.
Right.
Yeah.
First thing I always ask anybody I'm hiring is what are your rates? Because being a person who has to be mindful of their budget, I can't pay far out the ass for artwork.
Yeah.
And sometimes less is more. You don't have to put all the bells and whistles just to make it a good book.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing is also you got to find out what are they expecting? How soon can they get the work done?
Right. Are they flexible if you need them to be? Yeah.
Yeah. And and also what's your schedule to get what you're looking at getting your work out in time, right? Like, is it like in 6 months? Is it going to be in a year? How soon?
Yeah. And so, also, do you gel well with that artist? That's another biggie.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've had artists come across who
it's almost like being in a band. You got to make sure you're.
Yeah, so I've had artists.
It's kind of like being in a band. You got to.
Is there a delay between me and you, or?
Yeah, it probably is. Like sometimes you cut it in and out.
All right, so I've been I've had artists who have started work with me, and then almost finishing the work, and then basically I don't want to work on it anymore for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, have you had anybody just kind of ghost you after 2 pages?
After 20 pages.
Really? The original the original person I chose for sorry.
I actually have 2 comic books that have almost finished that are sitting there that I can't release.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm more of the show must go on. So Melvin 2, there's a preview at the end of the first book, and he kind of fucked off after 2 pages, and I couldn't get him to do any more pages. So I hired a certain other artist who only did 13 pages of the when we were actually working on the book, and then he just kept dragging his feet, so I had to fire him. And then that's when I hired Sid, and Sid. So it's like 13 pages or somebody else. The original version is someone else's art, and then Sid kind of came in and saved the project. Right. So I'm the kind of like the show must go on regardless of if somebody gets kicked off a project or not.
Yeah.
So either way, the book's coming out.
Yeah. I've done that with one book, and I was able to do that, replace the artist altogether. But another, like this other 2, I wasn't like, it was, we got all the pencils done, had everything all sorted, and then 2 pages left to do, and he's, basically just bailed. And I'm like, what do I do now? So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go something else until I find an artist who can mimic that artwork, and and finish up the last couple pages, and then we can release it. But like when you're doing like a 8 issue comic book, and the first issue, you got the artist all thing, and they break their contract, right? It just sucks when you sign a contract, if you don't read the damn contract, then don't then don't sign a contract. Seriously, I mean, like, I think artists are so important now sometimes, where they can just move in and out of projects, but they don't realize that when they do that,
you stall the project.
Right? The word will get around that this is someone that you should not work with, because they do not actually, work well with others, and not only that they break contracts, right? That they break their word.
Well, I've never done a contract. I've done kind of a verbal agreement most of the time. But I also, from when I worked on my first issue to the second issue, I came up with a no tolerance policy, to where if you start dragging your feet or making excuses, you are replaced, and then without warning. You are just you're replaced because you're not doing your part of the bargain. So, sorry.
Yeah, no, I do everything through contracts. I don't trust people, trust artists after the last couple. So, because I don't want to be like left in the loop after someone decides that, well, they don't want to do anything anymore because they, that's how they feel then. So, whatever the case, I'm like, nah, we're going to look at everything you've done. We're going to look at what you're able to do for us. Here's what we're doing in return for what you're doing for us. Because there's a lot of, like, at the end of the day, there's money involved, right? And that you're trying to run a business, whatever people may say. For some people, comics might be just passion, right? So just they don't care whether they get it out or not. But like when you've got long-term goals of producing a whole lot of work that you're very passionate about, that you want to get it out into people's hands because you've been working on it for years. And sometimes, some of us have been working on these projects for decades, writing them, especially if you're a writer, creator. And then, you get it off the ground and suddenly you're halfway there and then somebody just fails.
Yeah. Like I said, throughout since I've been in the game about 5 years. I've learned, like I said, because of a certain artist, I have a zero tolerance policy. I mean, even before I fired him, I went on Facebook. I'm in several groups on Facebook, and I put out an ad looking for someone to pencil Melvin 2 or a book. I got offers right away, and that's how I actually ran into Sid. And sometimes you hit gold, but for some reason, Facebook has always worked for me.
Yeah, but even when you get someone, there's some dodgy people out there who are using other people's work to promote themselves, right? recently,
Yeah.
I think it was in the last 6 months, we had someone come across whose work was so different from page to page that I could tell it wasn't the same artist, right? That
Right.
it was somebody who was like a go-in-between kind of situation where they were using somebody else who they would pay like, a third amount because they were somewhere in the third world, right? Overseas. And so they would take the, work as like a manager of those people without you knowing who those people were and without them knowing what they were working for, right? Or who they're working for. And so you got a lot of people that like that now because of online who will pretend that this work is theirs. And the worst thing now with AI is that now they can pretend that AI that they copied is their work, right? So
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything very dynamic that could fool me. I've seen, like, I'll look at a thing and if it's too bright and it's not very, it's not even a pose. It's like, okay, that's AI.
yeah, but what if you're tracing AI, right? So
I don't know.
people have come across and found that there are people who are actually, generating art through AI or images through AI, and then using that as a tracing thing to trace that image in their own way, right, with their hands, digitally, whatever, and then calling it their work. But then when you overlay it across the original work, you see it's not their work; it's somebody else's work altogether.
Oh.
Now, talking about that,
I've never come across that.
get exposed for tracing.
Yeah. Sorry. Did I
Didn't
interrupt?
someone exposed for tracing in Comic
I think it was Liam Gray, but I
Right.
think he already got he already
CG,
got
right?
massive shit for that. What? I'm sorry.
Yeah, from CG, right? Comicsgate,
Yeah, that was Liam Gray.
right?
So
Yeah.
and
So Liam's
he
like
supposed. Oh,
the
sorry.
king, right? He's one of their top comic creators with Comicsgate.
I wouldn't say top, but he has his own thing going, which is why I wondered why he came calling back to Comicsgate in the first place. If you have your own thing, then why would you need them? Anyway, uh, he's a writer. He's not an artist, so that's kind of another thing.
But that's even worse. Like if you're a writer, just write, right? And like do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
But why you try to come across as an artist when everybody knows that you're a writer, and then suddenly you're right. Suddenly you try to like trace art and make yourself look like Jim Lee or someone, right?
Yeah. Well, supposedly he got permission from an artist or something, but I don't know why an artist.
Yeah, I could trace Jim Lee's
Dr.
work,
Doom.
or even Rob Liefeld's, right? Or even Todd McFarlane's, and look really great.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, it'd be hard to plagiarize Rob Liefeld or those guys' work because they're so unique.
Yeah,
So,
but you could still change a few things, right?
probably. I'm just saying, Rob Liefeld. You can tell if it's a Rob Liefeld picture.
Sure.
He's. Yeah, I mean, I could look at a Rob Liefeld piece I've never seen before. That's Rob Liefeld, all right. I can tell from the pouches.
Yeah, but that's because there's this thing, lots of pockets and pouches. But what I mean is, like, you could actually put Rob's work through AI, and then you could like trace over that, and then call that your own work, which is what's happening right now, right? Across many comic artwork or illustrators trying to grift off the whole, I'm the latest such and such, or this is commission me for work here, and this is what you'll get,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't ran into that. And I know Sid's for real because I came across his he had his resume on some website somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was cool. He was a fill-in artist for 2 issues of Action Comics. I think he drew a little bit for an issue of Nightwing, and most of his other work was like small press stuff. So and Sherwin, who did Melvin 1. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. His artwork is pretty much his artwork, but I think he's a better inker than he is an artist. To be honest with you, but at the time, somebody made a mistake of telling me, "Oh, you'll never make it." Well, and I'm the kind of person who doesn't like people telling me where I can succeed. So I told Sherwin, "This is the deal. You're going to draw this, and we're going to, So basically, my first issue was a Spite issue comic book. But
you got used to motivate yourself, right?
Right. But at the end of issue 1, I looked at it and go, this is good for what it is, but the second issue has to be better than this. And then at the end of the second issue, I was like, well, this is an improvement, but the third issue has to be 10 times better than this. So forth and so on.
Right. Yeah, I don't even talk about my first 2 issues, first comic, because it was me doing the artwork, and I'm like, yeah, I wasn't good. I'm not good. I won't. It's like
yeah. It's like Alasmat says, your first book is never going to be your best book.
That's why you got to hire someone else to do the artwork.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you're if you're an indie guy and your first book ever. I mean, in reality, you're learning at the same time because these seasoned vets they think of themselves too important to dish out advice.
Well, that's because they never show their original work, what it was like when they first put out something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they pretend that like they've always been such and such good. Like I know,
they try to paint themselves better than they actually were. EVS, or John Malin.
Your first work's always going to be trash. I mean, like because it's your first work. It's like your first painting. Or whatever, or your first story, because you're learning after doing the first one and putting it out. You're learning what's how to do it better, and as you do it with practice, you get better and better. But the worst thing is if you don't get better, just move over and let somebody else do it. Like me, I realized that I wasn't that good at all, so go back to what I want to do, which is always be a writer.
Yeah. See, I think of the creator/writer as the brains of the operation.
Yeah, well, that's because it's your vision, right? It's
right.
Your thing. As a director, right? When the director's directing, the only times that the product becomes very crappy is when they have the studio telling them, "Now do this, now do this, now do this," and there've been so many failures because of studios thinking they were the creator and they were the director, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. These ex-pros were just cogs in the machine, right? And now that they're independent, they're dragging their feet. They're not producing like they should.
Well, there's a difference between just being a cog to being someone who's doing everything, right?
Right. Yeah.
When you're doing the work yourself, it's tougher. Like I think it was Jay who said yesterday on his stream that we as independent creators, right, and especially in comic book things, we are in my case, the letterer, the color flatter, the designer, the editor, the producer, the layout,
the one that keeps everybody producing. If they ain't, they cut them out.
Yeah, everything really, because I mean, here I am, like on this book, it's just me. So far, it's just me and James, who's the artist, and right, and he's already finished like half of issue 2 inks, and here I'm inking the first page. Sorry, recoloring the first page of color plating, I should say, the first page of the first issue, whereas he's already halfway through issue 2 with the artwork already inked. But then I'm going to get in a finisher for this, right? We've got already someone lined up who's worked on indie comics and professionally to come in and finish off my color palette and put the tones in, make it look good, so it's not just flat. Even though, like, if I just put it out as flat, right, it'd be fine. But I want it to be a bit more shadows, a bit more lighting, a bit more fletched up. Rendering would look really cool when he actually colors over my flats. So that's 3 people working, but I'm the one who's actually managing to make sure this work is completed and ready to go to production when it's finished. But when you're working for the mainstream, all you're doing is sitting there just handing over your pages, and somebody, like, you draw your pencil pages, and then somebody else is inking it, and then that somebody is now handing it over to somebody who's going to color it. So that's 3 people, right? Who's just working to color that page, to finish just a single page. Never mind the letterer, never mind the editor, never mind the production house, right?
Well, there's also other types of artists, like maybe they do like the outline, and then somebody else goes in and does the details or something. There's more than one artist working on those pages. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got like background artists as well. Those who do the cars, who do the buildings, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's Now I'm looking forward to 2026 because that's going to be my first trade paperback. Right. Besides the fourth issue getting finished, but that's going to be my first trade paperback, and then I want to work on a source book for all the things involved in the first four issues 0 through 4. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I want to do this. Sorry.
Sales of 60. Welcome to the Monkey Show.
Yes, don't make us throw our poop at you.
I bet you can have some bananas for free.
Yes.
Now, yeah, man. I mean, like, getting to that graphic novel. So, how are you going to put it out? And where's put some links in the chat for where people can find your comic book.
Oh yeah, well, I'll probably do that. I'm kind of using my mobile phone, and it's not very good.
All right.
So I might do that next show.
Sure.
But it's all on. It's Melvin 0 through 3. It's usually special edition. They're all on Amazon. They go through Critical Blast. Shout out to RJ. Shout out to George Peter Gatsitz.
I don't like George. Just want to lay it out there. He's annoying. I do not like George.
George is just George, man.
Yeah, I just don't like George. I was on what was I on? I was on some stream yesterday. He was on then. I'm like, oh yeah, it was Hiawatha's. And I'm like,
yeah.
I do not like George. He reminds me of a person who stands in front of a mirror and looks at his reflection and starts talking to it, thinking it's somebody else.
Yeah.
That's my clear explanation of what I think of George and who I think George is.
I'm okay with George. I mean, I can see he can be a personality, that's for sure. But I got no beef. I got no beef with George.
I think George just puts it on, and that's what I don't like. That I don't like people who put on stuff.
Yeah.
It's like just be yourself and not try to pretend to be something else, man.
Oh, there's some
where everybody tries to pretend to be something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get that either. It's just like, okay, clout does not really. It really doesn't do anything good for you like it think it does. It just makes you look like an ass. Yeah. But
hey, here's my manga artist, Luis.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, man. Wait, no, not my manga artist. Apologies, my Howler comic artist. Darn it.
Oh, well, that's still what's up.
Yeah, let me show you guys. Oh, that's what I was talking about. One of the other comics we're putting up. So let me just bring this up to show you guys. Howler.
Howler.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of ash cans next year too.
Right.
I was gonna do them like they're gonna be available for when I do an in-store book thing, but they're gonna be things that are eventually gonna be. My business partner, we're gonna be working on his. He's got a book called Nitro Rider. He'll finally be starting to put out books, which is so I'm kind of helping him with that because where he's from, he doesn't have the resources all the time. So I'm gonna try to help him with that.
Okay, where are you? Final color pages. These ones here. Here's a double page from Howler. Opening pages. Look at that.
There we go. Oh yeah, I remember that page. I remember that page.
This is actually in Australia. So yeah, that's the other thing. Like so, when you're working with artists from around the world, they bring in some amazing, ideas to the work that you're doing because it's just style is different. Their skills, it just adds so much more to.
Depending where they're from, they want it more. They want to actually be working. This is how they live, so they're going to work harder.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, they see the work as something of value. Then, if you're living in America and you just it's just another tag on. For me, like comics, it's my passion. It's been my passion for a long time. I owned a comic shop, ran conventions to promote comics.
You should get back into that because I mean, a guy like me wants. If I ever want to go to the Netherlands one day, I'll need those connections.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. I'm sorry, New Zealand. My bad.
Yeah.
Netherlands
on the other side of the world. Even though.
Yeah.
I'd love to go.
They both start with N though.
What's that?
Yeah. They both start with the letter N though.
Sure. Australia starts with A as well, so I can call America Australia, right?
Sure.
Or I can call it Canada.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
That's
a lot
embarrassing.
Of people, when they confuse us for Australia, we get pissed off because they might be our cousins, but they're not us.
Yeah, my apologies. Geography is not my best subject.
Neither is mine, to be honest. Usually I have to look up, place names and other countries and stuff when I'm trying to look for.
Now, history. I'm very interested in history. With all the talk of the Far East, I was watching this. There's a video on YouTube, and since it was October, Halloween's coming up, but I came across this video about the city that was devoured.
Right.
It's a. Oh well, the story is it's during the Tang Dynasty in China,
right.
And rebels had kind of like surrounded the city and cut off the supply line. So they basically went through their supply of food, and then they were allowed to hunt anything in the city, and then they ran out of that, and they were basically starving. So they decided they were just going to start eating people.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so they basically ate an entire city.
Yeah.
Lost the city and then gained it back later.
There was have you ever seen LadyHawke?
Probably.
So it's Rutger Hauer, one of the classic Rutger Hauer movies, and Michelle Pfeiffer's in it as Lady Hawke. It's about a warrior who falls in love with a princess. And Michelle Pfeiffer's the princess, and they, it's sword and sorcery. So came out around.
Yeah, is it kind of a Red? Is it kind of a Red Sonja knockoff?
No, this is like original of its own thing, which is really beautiful.
Okay.
Let me see if I can put up a trailer because, yeah, LadyHawke is awesome.
Sounds like it might be a good one.
Really cool, LadyHawke.
So my idea for all these ash cans, I was going to call it Velvet Comics Presents, and there's going to be like 5 pages of maybe like Melvin 5 pages of like another story, and then like 5 pages of basically this would be 3 stories about 5 pages. Yeah, and then I'd work on them piece by piece and put them out there for people to kind of maybe as like a kind of like a business card kind of thing. Only it's a and then basically take all the pages that would be issue 5 of Melvin and put those together, and then that's issue 5 right there. And then I could easily get out more books that way.
Okay, so which is a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's people who like anthologies and people who don't like anthologies. I kind of like anthologies because it gives you an idea of like, as long as the stories are finished, right?
Right.
Because I don't like to like go hunt for some friggin' the next issue where you don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to be in there or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea would be the ash cans would be pushing the books I already have on Amazon.
Right.
Maybe have like a QR code on the last page.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that as well. You got to like cross promote all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a trailer, and it came out in 1985. So it's like 40 years ago, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
70, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. I was like 6.
Yeah. Hold on. Say your piece, then I'll play it.
Oh, sorry. I was like 6 when that came out.
Yeah, I would be about 12. Yeah.
Matthew Broderick, a pickpocket who thought that anything was better than prison. Little did he know what he'd escaped from wasn't half as strange or frightening as what he'd stumbled into.
I do not believe what I believe, Lord. These are magical, unexplainable matters, and I beg you not to make me a part of them.
The knight who had saved him wanted only 2 things: to free his lover and to take his revenge.
I have waited almost 2 years for a sign from God.
Sir, the truth is I talk to God all the time. And no offense, but he never mentioned you.
The pickpocket was the key to his plan. But would you send a thief to guard your treasure? He was the last one in the world to act like a hero. It just happened by itself. And he was drawn into a magical, romantic adventure. Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, Rutger Hauer, LadyHawke.
I think I've watched every single Rutger
That looks like it's been a good one.
Oh, dude, it's brilliant. You got to watch it. Seriously.
I'm going to have to.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer is amazing in it, and Michelle Pfeiffer is like princess, right? It's just like amazing.
That's kind of like a lost gem right there of a film.
Yeah, it was just one of a one, right? There was no sequels, no nothing. It was just beautiful, self-contained story that needed nothing else afterward.
Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes that's all right. Sometimes that's just a bit of all right.
Yeah. This is when they used to make good movies. In the 80s.
I believe somebody once said that they still make good stuff. You just have to go looking for it.
Yeah.
You know, people are generally lazy. They want things to be handed to them. Like, no, if you want to find something good these days, you got to go looking for it.
Right.
But then again, people complain about movies without seeing them, which is why they're all complaining about the Predator Badlands movie, and like I haven't seen it yet, so I have no opinion.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to complain about a movie when you haven't seen it yet. You're just gonna go on. You're gonna go by what everybody else is saying.
Yeah, you don't necessarily go off. I mean, you can, but like I think if you keep going off everybody else's opinion about something, you're not gonna you know enjoy it anyway. Because I tend to like watch movies way after it's all the hype's gone, and way after
Right.
everybody's opinions of it's gone. It's like
Right.
I haven't seen Superman yet, and I haven't seen what what is it called? What was it First Steps or whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it in a decade or 5-10 years from now when nobody's even talking about it, and probably enjoy it or probably not, but I'm not forced to watch it.
Right. I don't
It's
know.
not like
I
I
just
don't watch it, I'll die, right?
I was watching Elasmat's review of that movie, and he hadn't seen it yet. I'm like, how can you review something without seeing it? So I just kind of
Right.
left that chat for a while. Like, dude, I'm not gonna sit here and hear somebody, a bunch of old dudes complaining about, oh, the Predator in the first one. Well, this is not the first Predator, is it?
Yeah.
No.
I do still think there was like it's a stupid idea to make what is it called? Expose everything about the Predator, because I love I like the mystery of it.
Well, they
And
kind of did with the second one. That was my point. It's like they're talking about like, the humanized. It was like, well, they kind of already did with the second one because they showed they have honor. If they have honor, then everything else they're showing you, Plus, they got several different factions of predators, so it is possible that this is a.
well, that just sounds like the friggin' who are the Star Trek? Who are those weird facial things like Worf? What's Worf in Star Trek?
He's a Klingon.
Sorry.
He's a Klingon.
Yeah, so it's basically they're trying to make Predator into the Klingons. That's what it sounds like.
Well, I mean,
A noble race of
yeah.
honor-bound warriors, right?
Well, they did that at the end of the second one when he killed because of source material. There's like the jungle predators. There's the urban ones. There's like a tribe called the Lost Ones. There's like two more. I forgot what they were. But
Yeah, see, that's
if they didn't, yeah,
that's basically freaking what you call it. I keep forgetting it already. What was it called again?
expanded lore.
Yeah. Oh no, Klingons. Right. It was basically just the Klingons all over again.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Sometimes you gotta like not have everything explained to you. Like humanizing people, humanizing monsters is the wrong way to go when you're trying to create a
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, but that would have probably been if they hadn't made a sequel, but they did, and then they had all the comic books, which probably added more to it. When you make books, when you make movies after movies, you're going to have an expanded, more fleshed out thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't. I'll watch it still. I just hate people who complain about movies without seeing them. It's like, I mean, how many years have they been making Predator movies? What, more than 40 years?
I think the only one I haven't watched is Prey. This new one.
Prey was not that bad. People are complaining about that, but I didn't think it was that bad. And they go, well, there was the Dutch were, and there was basically a bunch of commie, anti-colonialism, blah blah blah. And I go, wait, I don't think the natives fared any better. And she technically didn't defeat the Predator. She outsmarted the Predator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is like you got to have a winner, right?
Right. A great twist would be. Sorry.
Carry on.
I was going to say a great twist would be to have the Predator win.
Yeah, but then that's leaving. It's a great twist, but it's also leaving your audience without a payoff, and that's the last thing you want to do to an audience or reader base is to leave them without a payoff.
Or have a draw where they both die.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like there's a movie where the main character actually does die. I forget what movie it was. Basically, sometimes you need to tell the audience, sometimes the good guy dies.
Yeah, sacrificing themselves for everybody else, right? That's how you have the good guy die, right? Like they did.
Maybe that would be the payoff, but still, it's just I don't know. I'd like to see for once the Predator actually win.
Well, the Predator won quite a few times, right? He already took them a lot
Right,
of them out.
but I'm talking about the final showdown with the main character.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you still with a good I guess, which I didn't like, but it still pays off when they killed off Iron Man in Endgame, right? Was it Endgame or was it like one before that?
Yeah, but he won still, but he died. Yeah. I'm thinking of a final showdown where the Predator straight up just wins.
Right.
Because I mean, out of all those hunts, they got to win sometime.
Sure, but see, the one that didn't work for me with the Marvel thing was when they killed Black Widow. There was no reason to kill Black Widow when you're already going to kill off friggin' Iron Man, right?
Right.
So there was no reason to do that, but they wanted to kill off a male and a female, so it wasn't like, oh, they killed off the female, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of tired of the. I'd like them to. If they did Avengers West Coast, then I'd be interested. But I still like anything like Wolverine, Deadpool, or the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll still watch those.
Yeah.
Except for X-Men's Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, I'd always watch whatever Ryan Reynolds is working on, because he really gets what he's doing, and he has fun with it, without it being some sort of freaking statement about some shit.
Oh yeah, I see. Everyone does my test for a movie is the eye roll test. If I hear something like a good example is the Ant-Man movie.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, no. The only thing that bothered me was the joke about socialism and the ants. That was it Michael Douglas? He said that. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up, Admiral. Last Jedi, I straight up got. I
think it was a big battle scene when I watched it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this. That was it.
Yeah.
I was like, I just turned it off at that point.
I was in the movie theater. I think the only movie I ever yelled at was The Last Jedi.
Right.
Because it was just them running away from the First Order of the Empire and getting blown up bit by bit, and then a side story that didn't go anywhere because they got captured because the guy they went with betrayed them, and then some blue-haired lady sacrificed herself to save them all. And I just stood up and was like, that's it? That's all we're getting for a movie, huh?
Well, they're trying to milk it, right? There's a point where they start milking what they have, because they want to make as many toys and many merchandises, sell as many tickets over and over again. But then that's how you destroy a good story, and that's how you destroy a good franchise.
The only thing that was interesting was a kind of a curmudgeon-y Luke Skywalker, except for that blue milk stuff. I was like, that's gross. And then him able to fight the emo Darth Vader from far away. I call him the Darth Vader fanboy.
But think about the fact that your entire movie is remembered by the fact that some dude, your main hero from the previous previous stories, movies, drank blue milk. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of sick of Jedi in a Star Wars. I'd like to see a Star Wars movie without a Jedi in it.
Right.
Like the Han Solo movie. That was interesting. Or
So Louise says, I regret watching Star Wars sequel trilogy. I don't even care about Star Wars anymore nowadays. Same, man. 100% same.
Seven was fine, but I wish they would have gone in their own direction. The sequel was terrible. I mean, the second one in the set was terrible. The third one had interesting things in it, but the second movie in the trilogy was so terrible that it was too late to fix that whole mess. Yeah. So, yeah.
I had about maybe 20 or 30 figurines and still in their packets, hanging like action figures. The what is that called? The Black Label, whatever. The high ones, right? The main installation ones. So in their packets, unopened, hanging on my door, right, on my cupboard door, like with push pins. And so once that I realized what it was, I was like, I lost everything, all interest in it, and I put it away in the cupboard. I was like, I don't want to see those toys anymore on the wall. And I had this whole Star Wars area on the shelf where there's some of it still there, like the limited edition Trivia Pursuit. I can see from here, and the VHS tapes from the first, first trilogy, original trilogy.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everything else is kind of like, apart from Lego stuff, is put away in the cupboards.
But people forget. They've put out bad Star Wars stuff before that sequel trilogy. Like, with the holiday special was terrible. I mean, at the time, we all enjoyed the Ewok movies, but when you grow up and you look at it again, like, oh my god, that's awful.
But they were just fillers, right? They weren't there to be anything apart from fillers, just entertainment for a little bit of time. With these, were like we changed the whole universe, changed everything about it, and when they did that, they ruined the entire universe.
They ditched the extended lore, and then they incorporated bits and pieces of the extended lore. Now, I will say this, and probably, I know, I got to go in a bit, but I will say this: I did like the Book of Boba Fett because it was a sci-fi crime movie, basically. And I did like the Mandalorian, but everything else was meh.
Yeah, I think Book of Boba Fett might have been the last one I watched, and Mandalorian, I think, and that was it. After that, I was like, yeah, that was just going nowhere.
Yeah, I did like the very last episode of the Book of Boba Fett. His right hand lady went and pretty much cleared house of all the people that stabbed him in the back. She a bad bitch. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go. So
all right, dude, cheers for hanging out.
Yep. See you later.
All right, gotcha. So Louis says that Mandalorian first and second season fooled me by thinking Star Wars was back, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Yeah, same. So I was getting into it, and I was like, oh, yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay. No, I'm out. This sucks. But yeah, so I've been like, I collect a lot of Legos, Lego sets and stuff. So I've got like the Mandalorian Kazarian run or something run. I can't remember what the bloody name of it is. I always forget, but it's just sitting there in a container in a big, huge, what we have them like a clip top kitchenware 20 by 30 container size with the whole set just in pieces waiting for me to build it up, because that's how I bought it off on an online auction. And then I've got like quite a few because that's all I buy now. If that has to do with Star Wars, is just Lego pieces and stuff, because you can put it apart, put it together, have it showing up there. But I just went from like collecting action figures and what have you, merchandise, just to Legos, or because I think with Legos, it's just that another sort of like extension of your of your love for that world, without kind of being part of that whole thing. But Legos has, everybody who's ever played with Legos knows it's its own thing. And the beauty of it is connecting things to make up something else, right? So it's not just like an action figure, you just move its arms and legs and whatever. Because I've got this huge plan that I have in my brain that I want to do, is build a castle that's based on our that friggin' Joachim did amazing job of basing on my mock-up of photos and stuff. And he designed this amazing Rastria where the elves live. Let me show you the castle. And I'm like, I want to make that castle into a Lego set. And then, maybe have that sitting on my, where is it? On my table when I go to promote, and sell our comic, Zeolandia comics. 1, 2, 3, where are you? What page? There it is. When we go to, sell and attend conventions and what art, promotion places, whatever you have it, wherever it's selling, put up a table and put the Lego castle. The castle made of Legos, the trees and the buildings there with this whole area, hopefully. But because that's what I'm doing right now, is buying like kgs, pounds, right, of Legos and mixed lot sets, like so much. So, here's one that I actually recently bought that my that's in another city that I had my uncle pick up recently. Let me show you. It's a Harry Potter bulk set, right? So I picked this up as part of a mixed lot set. Where are you? There we go. So there's two Harry Potter castles, right? That's in this pack. It cost me about $20 New Zealand. Right, so it's all the the different colors and stuff, and I've got a lot of greens and grays and stuff that are fake. So those I'm hoping to use the fake ones as much as I can without using the real ones. So you can see the gray, dark gray that could use, but the buildings inside I could use these as like the brick walls and so on. All right. Previous to that, I actually bought another lot, like huge lot sets. So let me find another lot that I bought. I think it might not actually be on here, but oh, here we go. So I bought, what is 7 kgs, man? Let me just find show you this other one I bought, right? So look at that huge pile, and kg to pound for those for those overseas people who use pound, which is I think UK and US, maybe even Canada use it, but here in New Zealand we use a kg. So a kilogram is 2 pounds. So this is actually, where are we? This is cost me $142, 7.4 kgs, which would be, let me see, 7.4 converter is 16 pounds of Lego in one lot. Yeah, it's a bit expensive, but the way I'll work it out is $20 kg Lego, which in the US was like USD. We get my conversion app up. Where are you? Money converter. I don't have it right at the top. Sure, I had it very close to the top. Hold on. Yeah, currency converter. So 142 US. All right, so New Zealand 142 dot US is what? Yeah, so wow. Did we drop to? Oh man, that's not good for us. Yeah, so this cost me $80 US, and that's sitting up with my uncle. He's coming down for Christmas, because the seller was in his country. Sorry, in his city, right? So he's a cool dude. I just tell him, hey, look, are you able to pick this up? I haven't bought it yet, and here it is. This is and he's an awesome dude. He just goes out and gets it for me, and lets me know when he picks it up. He goes, oh yeah, I paid for it now, so can you pick it up now, please? When you can, right? It's not like, go and do it now. It's like, please, whenever you're ready, get in contact with them, let them know, and here's their phone number, here's their address, and you can pick it up. So Louis says, Lego is really cool. I only bought like 3 sets of them since there's no space left here. All of them are Lego Star Wars. I'd get the Death Star one if I had space in my home, in my house. Yeah, that new Death Star is like what, like about 1.5K. So it's like $1,000 US or something like that. So yeah, I want to build this out of Lego, like this city here, which is the Elven. It's like the stories around, like the main story for Zeolandia #1, which is Fantastical Romi #1, is set basically around this thing. And so I thought in the first arc it would be really cool to have a Lego castle, representing Rastria, on the table as I'm selling the comic book. Have the comic book there to sell to our supporters. But yeah, it's such a let me see if I can find the mock-up I did, which ended up being this beautiful design work. And while we're doing that, I'll play this. Let me see, where's that video I had set up? I think, let me go back to hold on, if I can find this. The AI. Yeah, for those who would like to know information about the AI, well, I guess Artists Against AI page, a group on Facebook. There's like about 150,000 members there. This is the page here. So let me move that off here, and I'll show you the group page. So it's called Artists Against Generative AI, not against AI itself, but where they're using it, and converting artist work and using it to make it into AI trash. So there's something here I wanted to show that had to do with. See, I'm not against AI itself, and that's the thing. Got to make it very clear. I'm not against AI itself. I'm against the use of AI in writing, in the creative process of it, right? Like churning out bullshit images and bullshit stories and scripts for movies and stuff, like a paint by numbers thing, right? Rather than actual creative thing. So I'm trying to see what I can find here. There was something. What was it? Oh, this is just like a couple of hours ago, but like darn it. Oh, and the other thing is this. I actually was designing a no AI logo to put on our comic books. I haven't finished it yet, so I'm hoping that I will be putting that on. I'll be finished by once we go to print. But I want a really cool looking design. I just don't want like like anybody else's work. I just want it to be like something that's cool and stands out. Yeah, so Darn it. So this one. Yeah. So now the worst thing is that like now comic book groups, right? Pages where where comic book creators like myself and writers and letterers and so on are going on to like promote their work, to show people, hey, showcase their work, say, hey man, this is what I've been working on, this is what we got coming up. We'd love for you to support us. Please share and like, and just share the link around so people can find us. But now you find that people are just turning those group pages, which only like a year ago was all comic book creators, now is just friggin' AI. Not just AI, but AI people are jumping on there to say, oh look what I did. Look, this is my this is my my artwork. And then you go, well, wait, that's AI. Why are these groups now allowing AI on these actual creatives, human created sites? And the thing is that you don't know it's that until you put it through an AI recognition thing. So usually I just go, hey Grok, is this AI? And it would tell me. So I use Grok and ChatGBT as a tool, which AI is supposed to be, right? But it seems that now it's, people kind of like think that's, well, we won't use that as a tool, we'll use it to help us become, what is it called? As a cheat. So yeah, I use, for me, AI as a tool when I go, hey, what song, what are these, which song is this lyric from? Like I did the other day, I was going like, hey, Grok, when did Teen Spirit come out in New Zealand? And did Jane's Addiction stop, or Being Caught Stealing came out before that? Because I remember that I was into Jane's Addiction before I was into Nirvana, right? Because Jane's Addiction was the first alternative breakthrough, I guess, in New Zealand with alternative rock, right? What we consider alternative rock. So, and it was like, yeah, it came out an entire whole year earlier. I'm like, oh, wow. Because I thought, like, I know that Nirvana, Teen Spirit did not become famous, before Jane's Addiction. Now, and that's what you're supposed to use it for, right? As a tool to help you, and not cheat your way through life. And the other thing was, it said that there was like a whole lot of students were like failing because they, the other day, the internet went down, and so all these kids couldn't do their friggin' exams because ChatGPT couldn't provide them the answers to the tests. It shows you that not only are we already like in a state where there's a lot of people not educated, like they're going to university, dude. There was an actual, what's called a research done where they found out that a lot of students at university didn't know how to read or write, right? Who had gotten there because of DEI, yet they didn't know how to read or write. Imagine studying hard out to get a seat, all right, and paying your own way, or having to take a loan, and someone gets it for free, gets a scholarship because they're a certain race or color, right, or ethnic group, and they're able to get that seat, yet they don't even know how to read or write, or not even proficient at whatever they're doing, like maths, like social studies, where you study about other countries and societies and all that. And you get there, and there's these people just like, basically getting in freely and getting rewarded for it, yet they don't know how to read or write. And then the people who actually did do the work and got there, of the same race or same color, right, ethnicity, and they are now, and this is how it works with what I'm trying to say with AI, is that they are the good, hardworking people are seen as trashy as the cheaters who don't know how to read or write, right? Who are there. So it's like AI shows up with their artwork and goes, "Oh, we're just as good as you," and then people are going, "Yeah, well, now that you're using AI, like that, when we're showing that one with this, where do we go? With those two, so-called well-known New Zealand writers, right? Who now, because they used AI for their, literature, for their books, they are now recognized as someone who uses AI, so they're tainted forever. So let me show you the Lego that I had that's sitting there because I haven't built it. So this is the Kessel run, right? It's around about $200 if you buy it. I paid $50 New Zealand without the figurines, just the just the ship itself, which is around about $30, $25 actually right now in the US. It's a retired figure, a set, and so I haven't built it. It's just sits there, and I'm hoping that next year I have some time when I've got these 4 issues out. I can actually take a week off and just sit here and just play with the Legos. Now, I remember right, here we go. So I want to come back here and talk to Louise about this. So Louise says, mixing and customizing Lego is something I dreamt of when I was a kid to create whole new scenarios. Yeah, man. Like my first two sets of Legos I ever owned was the first gift one of the first gifts my dad bought me when he came to Fiji to visit and marry my mum, because it was just me and my mum when I was like 7 years old. And so Dad bought 2 sets of Legos, probably back then were worth around about $50 each, right? And they were the house ones, and there was other ones that there was back then there was like building blocks. They were made in New Zealand. Like there was a company that just made them. So I think half of them were like from the New Zealand made ones, and then half were from Lego. And so they were the kind of the first toys I ever had. The other toy that he bought me was a tank, a tin, like a plastic and tin tank with a wire with a radio control. Or is that a remote control? I can't figure out which one's it's a remote control, right? So it's attached to the wire was attached to it, so you could actually fire off the white missiles with a rubber tip at people. I mean, that's what I did I had things, but I did it with my cousins, and ended up, playing around for a year or two, and then somehow it got broken and got lost. I was trying to buy it from Amazon. It's worth around about $500 US, man. And it was my favorite toys. But back to the Lego, my aunt back in Fiji, when they were cleaning the concrete floor in our house, right? They would brush it off, not thinking that was of any value. It's just you left it around, whatever, I don't care. I'm just, and I didn't realize that all these toys were ending up in the dirt behind the house because I just brush it away. If you ever seen if you ever seen people from India or on Fiji and the Pacific Islands using a coconut brush, it's just made from the leaves, and so she would use that and then just brush it off to the side, and I would end up losing all the pieces. But I think I still had a handful left or so. But I only started getting to Legos only a couple of years ago because I found a whole bunch of them for cheap at thrift shops. So I'm like, okay, well, might as well buy some to give away. And then in the end, I end up oh, you know what? I'll just collect them for myself and do what whatever. So yeah. Louis says creating a Lego of the Zeolandia scene would be quite hard work. Definitely, man. This one's like, yeah, I gotta really slowly. I gotta get as much of these different grays and greens and whatever. I think I've got enough greens, but like the trees have to be brown, right? Because they bark. Because it's so far away, this way it looks like that. But like it'll be like if you're looking close up, it'll have to be like light brown or something like that, or tan, depending because they're kauri trees. But yeah, the scene, and then like I could put boats in the ocean and so on. But it all depends on what I'm trying to do with it. How big I want it to go. I have a table that I use, when I'm doing like podcasts with my face on the screen, which is in front of the toys shelves. It's only around about, I think, about 60 centimeters by 50, so it can't be any bigger than that. And the other thing is that when you're doing something like this, right, you might have to glue them if you want to move them around from place to place. Otherwise, you have to like put them in pieces and build it together, and it might take forever. But yeah, if I can get all the pieces I want, and I've got tons of them, right? Really, I have like, I don't know, maybe about 30, 40. Let me find out how much that is in pounds. Come here, right screen. So the last count, I think I had about 30 kgs. Maybe, I don't know. And I only know how much I have is because of, people saying this is how many kgs it is. And I haven't actually weighed the amount of stuff I have because I have a lot. So I reckon I have about, around about maybe 80 pounds, right? Which is like just under 30 kgs of Legos. And there are sets as well. There's lots of sets. But, like Ninjago, City, Star Wars, Marvel, airports, Oh, and some of them are also Minecraft. Yeah, there's actually a Minecraft set that's still in the box. And there's a Wolverine that's still in the box, a Mecha Wolverine. And there's also, like, who was like, the big bad in, what is it called? Endgame, the big bad there, that dude. So I have him as a set that I haven't opened, and there's a whole bunch of like I was collecting early on when I started like really getting into it. I started, which is only about 2 years ago. I started collecting the jets and the planes from DC and Marvel, and also, of course, I've got tons of Batman. Right, I have the Bat Cave, lots of Batmobiles and stuff like that. And back to AI, Louise says this epidemic of AI is really worrying at the way this is going. I heard a lot of people even venting out and opening themselves to AI. Our world is entering in a dark place if we keep up like this. We must learn to use AI properly. Yeah, I think that's why I say use it as a tool. If you use AI as a tool, it's such a great thing, right? If you turn the tool into your master and a quick fix, well then, you're just going to be lazy, And at the end of the day, if you change yourself with AI, it's like what people like, start doing drugs, right? And their friends go, so don't hang around with so-and-so because he does this and that. And when he does this and that, he behaves this way. So better not to hang out with him because then people will think you're the same, right? This is when you're a kid, when like your parents look at you, and the neighbors go, hey, and I used to get that a lot as a kid. everybody would think like, you know, I was this terrible child because I was into heavy metal. I would have, you know, I would have ripped jeans because, and my ripped jeans were ripped on purpose. And I would like, you know, as a design thing, I would go out of my way to paint them, to sew, right? Actually, needle and thread, sew the patches on where I've ripped out the knee area. And I would have the big huge Metallica or Megadeth patch, back patch in there that I hand sewed because because I was also into clothing design, right? Fashion design. And so I would actually go out of my way to, you know, do all that. But people would think, oh no, he's just like some trashy kid, you know, street kid and all this, useless. And I'm like, I just spent like 10 hours hand sewing, right? Because sometimes when I wasn't at home and I was living in another city, I was hand sewing that shit because I wasn't allowed to use my mom's sewing machine, right? Because it wasn't there, or my mom didn't trust me with it. And she'd think that putting jeans, right, thick material in her home use, you know, home model, I'd say, not industrial model, sewing machine would ruin her friggin' sewing machine. And she was right. You know, but so I'd be hand sewing it. You know, Mom, can I have some thread and needle? Oh, I don't have that color. Okay, I'm going to go buy some. You know, and so, you know, but people would think, oh no, he's just this. I'm like, nah, I'm freaking using my artistic talent to, you know, to create this new wearable art that I'm putting together for myself. Never did for anybody else. I just did it for myself because I was like, yeah, this is my thing, right? And then I would do screen printed designs. Don't even exist anymore, but some actually do, for clothing labels and stuff like that. I designed this really cool teddy bear with a halo, but the teddy bear was like a demon looking teddy bear. And I did a couple shirts with that, screen printed some shirts with that hand printed home, you know, at home with whatever, you know, paint I had. And so, but they don't exist anymore because I think they got, I lost them over time, or they got thrown out, or both. And this is the thing about being creative, right? So if you're creative, when you're creative, and if you're creative, wait, why? I'm missing something here. I'm not able to flip it. What did I lose here? Come down again. Usually I'm like about, usually I'm about able to turn this whole thing sideways or something. But anyway, I'll leave it for later. I'll figure it out if I reset something, which I do sometimes by mistake. And so I have this once, I have a window where I have, where basically there's like a canvas, a workspace, and it'll just go, this one, or mine first, right? It's because if I so it sets up and looks like the way I want it to set up, so it's easier to think. But I don't know, is it this? Did I just? Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to figure out this one. It's like, no, I got the wrong one here. So I'm looking at the wrong thing. So 0, 0 will get me. Perfect. Oh, no, we're still in the hair. Get this hair right. Yeah. But yeah, this one I'm a bit like cautious about touching AI for what I do, because I mean, especially like if I'm like, oh, I can just put my you know, what I've just written in my article, especially the one that I just did for Zeolandia the other day, you know, the entire page of it, I'm like, oh, I could just put this through ChatGBT and I could just you know, have it go over my grammar and my spelling and make sure it's all reads right. I'm like, no, that's what I've got my artist for. right? And he can go across and add that human touch to it without me having to go to AI, to Grok or friggin' ChatGBT and go, hey, can you fix this for me? Right. So it's like I don't even want to be use that to correct my friggin' speech and how I write my essays or whatever I'm trying to do. Even though it could probably make it sound better, but that defeats the purpose of having humans work with work on my work and myself work on it and say, yeah, I'm not gonna use because this is my creative outlet, right? This is my my passion, my thing, what gets me up in the morning, right? Because otherwise I could just lie in bed all day and just watch YouTube and not do a thing and I'll be fine. But because then I'd get so bored and stressed out and then go, well, why am I not doing anything? Am I just a lazy bugger, right? As we call it in New Zealand. Just sitting on my ass doing nothing when I could be doing something creative like this. And the other thing about creativity is when you're doing stuff like this, it's actually good for you mentally, right? That's why psychologists and all those weird, not weird people, therapists and all that tell you to do something creative. Pick up a pen, do some writing, do some painting, go join a group, right? To get out of your head, because whenever you're in your head for too long, you start becoming negative and become judgmental of others or yourself. And so you're always constantly thinking about, oh, they're better than me, or why am I not that like that, right? That sort of talk, or I suck at everything, and so you become very negative. But if you start, working out on yourself, working on your work, trying to get better, and even, whatever skill you have, like my skill is writing, right, and design. I couldn't draw a face, a proper face that was asymmetrical, right? Symmetrical, I should say. Everything was in its proper place. I could, but it would take me forever. However, when I was younger, before I had my accident, I could do all that. But because of years, I should say decades of not doing it, I've lost the hand-eye coordination, and just because I stopped, doing it all the time, I kind of lost the ability to be able to do that. But, like they say, practice makes perfect. So when you stop practicing, well, you lose it as well. I know some people who their brain can pick it up like decades later. With me, it was like, well, it's going to take way more time. There's no point. Just get some artists to do it, because they're better at it. That's what their skill is, and get them and to make the things come to life, which I'm really not good at. And that's why I think. And the other thing here is that people don't understand is that when you're working with a human artist, the amount of creativity that comes into you working with someone else on a work like a comic book or a movie is that their skills also come into play, right? Their ideas, their insight and their experiences come into play, where the characters you think should be a certain way, or where the art that should be a certain way or have a certain look can change because you have a different voice working with you, and the skill and that they bring into it and their personal experiences become so much better. And this is what AI people don't understand when it comes to art. Even when people are writing friggin' using AI for movie scripts or books, AI doesn't understand human nuances, right? Maybe someday it will, but right now it doesn't. And so when you just take a shortcut with AI, you miss all that. I mentioned how like I try my hardest to like try to write in a way that the reader connects with my characters, right? The way I connect with, with great stories that I can, I feel, empathy for a character, right? Because at the end of the day, we as humans, we want to feel empathy, we want to feel joy, we want to feel scared, we want to feel happy, we want to connect with what's on the page or what's in front of us on the screen. And when we don't, all we think about it is, oh, remember that time when Luke drank that blue milk from the sea cow? And that's the entire movie that you remember. Not the fact that there was some sort of love story going on between is it Ben? No, Kylo, and and Rey and all this. No, you just remember the milk, the blue milk. And then the other thing about I think was how Luke throwing his lightsaber into the sea or whatever. Like, it's been so long since I watched it. I've only watched it once. I've never wanted to watch it ever again. So we humans search for connections in stories, and when you don't have that connection, doesn't matter what sort of connection, right? Like a comedy, horror, romance, action, right? The best things that people connect with, I mean, the stories that people connect with, that everyone connects with on some level, you'll note that they're like the ones that people talk about all the time. And that's why you can recognize it as a good story, is because everybody sort of on some level connects with it. And they'll talk about it, they'll bring it up, and they'll discuss it, in gatherings, at parties. Oh, remember that time when this, and that movie, this. And that's what's a good story does, right? So Louis says, I won't lie, it's tempting sometimes to use AI to help me with my creative work, even if I just ask tips for writing and stuff. But I'm always worried about data stealing from wherever I share. And that's the other side of it, right? So once you share something, once you put your work into AI, it's there forever, right? It's gone. It's like it's added to it, which is why a lot of artists, actors even, are saying, do not use my voice, right? Don't put my voice in here. Stop doing this. Right now, actually, yeah, let me bring that up since just thought of it. A wrestler, right? AJ Lee, I think that she's like CM Punk's wife, but she's also a wrestler as well. So I just saw this morning on a wrestling news. As you guys know, I watch wrestling. I just haven't this week because I've been busy, but I watch AEW like religiously. Even if I miss a week, I go back and watch it. Make sure that I watched, Dynamite, Collision, and also ROH. And then in between that, I watch, the other indies like Stardom, NJPW, New Jersey, NJPW, New Jersey Pro, I think New Japan Pro Wrestling, and and so many others. And even like I have the CMLL is on, and then like there's a Patreon, the Patreon Wrestling, which is like funded by that tequila brand Patron. That's online as well on YouTube. So let me search out this wrestling. I think it was WrestleLania that put it up. Find it in time. Oh, well, not find it in time. Just faster, I guess. So WrestleLania. Yeah, here it is. So fans go too far. So this is, let me bring it up. Right. And here's the thing, that this thing is happened in Korea, and they actually started, they put a law in place that you can't do this in Korea now, South Korea, right? So That's the one.
Next up, AJ Lee demands a creepy fan to stop. Now, AI is getting out of hand in the pro wrestling space, as one bizarre fan has decided to use AI to produce an image of AJ Lee kissing him. This creepy post was called out by fans, and AJ herself has taken to X to ask the fan to delete it. This is inappropriate and it's harassment. Please delete. Now, as things stand, the post is still live and the fan hasn't deleted the post despite the community note underneath confirming that this is AI. Weirdly, countless fans have stated that they have reported the post to X, but it is yet to be taken down. This type of behavior isn't okay, and we're seeing time and time again fans pushing things too far and not respecting pro wrestlers in any way, shape, or form. There was even a fan waiting right outside of CM Punk and AJ Lee's hotel, with Punk even turning around and giving the fan a pretty dirty look. Next up, a former star blasts WWE. A former WWE star, David Otunga, recently appeared on the Ariel Helwani show, and the
So
former
that's that, right? So, I mean, what was the whole point of them? Like, it's very creepy when people do that. It's like, you know, what is that called? That shipping, right? Shipping your freaking you know, as a fan, you're shipping the characters together. I mean, a lot of like, one of the things that really put me off by comic books was like when they're shipping, you know, characters and situations like that they had like that not even, you know, belong there. But in mainstream comics and Marvel, they put Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine in a threesome on the moon. I'm like, are you guys like really? Is this your freaking fetish? Is this, you know, is this your, you know, is this how you see, you know, writing a story this way is what gets you off, all right? And this is what, you know, this is what I mean. What I call by self-insertion and shipping. I mean, like, really, is that how you want to tell a story about superheroes? Now, Louis says, where are we? That's true about the nuances. I tested ChatGBT about crafting a dialogue exchange between characters, and AI doesn't understand the nuances, layers, and subtext of human conversations. No, the dialogue I made with AI was was purely a test, and I didn't use it anywhere since the result was lame. Yeah, so when AI first came out, I was like, okay, let's see what this thing does, and how it's going to do things when I, you know, especially for a writer and stories and storytelling. And I was like, I put a short story through, and I thought, okay, this is what it is. This is what I'm writing. This is how it is. And because I want to test it and see what's going on, right? And what I found was it just did what I was taught at school, at film school. Nothing else, nothing more. It just sped out the same beats in script writing, right? Man, on that screen looks really dark, and on my screen on Cintiq, it's like really, really light, like really light. So that's weird. Like she's pale on my screen, but here she looks tan. So on your guys' screen. So maybe it's my setting for either my Cintiq or my brightness on my TV monitor, because I'm using a 43-inch TV monitor to stream. I mean, where I'm like looking at, right? But the Cintiq is on my lap. So so when I put that through, I was like, well, this is pointless. So all it's going to do is going to take everybody else. And here's the other thing I noticed, that it took every other movie ever made, every script ever written, and basically made my story, my script, right, my 10-page or 15-page script, basically the same as everybody else's. There was no sort of emotional connection. There was no sort of you know, nothing unique about my story anymore. And I realized that that's what it is. It's doing is that every single time someone put their script, you know, online, or they shared it, or maybe they didn't even share it, maybe it was just sitting on the computer, and emailed it to somebody, I guess, and then somebody else put it out in public. Now that script has been made public, or the stories have been public, has been chewed up and then put through the generative AI, and has now turned my story just like into anybody else's. And I was so pissed off. I was like, now I've just lost a story that I can never use again, and a script that I was starting to like really connect with and really feel passionate about putting out as a comic book, right? To have some artist draw it. It's a short story. It's part of an anthology that I was putting together, right? And I will never be able to do that now because I just don't want to do it, and because I just don't want to be connected to the fact that I've used AI for that story. And the fact is that it's just like any other shit that has ever been produced, like for beats, right? If you've ever written a movie, a script, if you ever done a script course, movie writing course, they tell you about beats and and so on, where like you do this here, then this is it here, you're 5 minutes in, you do this, and 20 minutes in, you have a sex scene, and all this shit. But that doesn't allow you to, it basically is a cookie cutter shit of way of writing. Now, the first movie that I made as a student feature, right, which is like about an hour, 15 minutes long, which is, you can class as a feature film, like a full-length feature film. Anything over like 90 minutes is there. And it was 95 minutes. So when I wrote that story, it was always like a non-linear, right? A linear story is when it's like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. End of story. So, however, when you do a non-linear, it's like Pulp Fiction. And I grew up in Fiji watching movies as a child, watching non-linear films. Where the film director, the script was all, they weren't like A to Z. They were like A, B, E, D, F, then, all out of sync, and then all came together at the end. And so that's what I did for my first story, which I turned into a comic book, right? Called The Circle. And so I've always wanted to do non-linear style of storytelling. Even, not that I did it on purpose. It's something that I just find interesting, where like it's not A to Z, right? And so it makes it sort of like makes your reader think while they're watching, the story, to say, oh, okay, wow, okay, so this happened then, and then this happens then. Oh, I see how that connects now. Yeah, I get it. It's like a puzzle, right? And so that gives people, a bit more interest in your story. Louis has got to go. So thanks for hanging out, Louis. Sorry if you've already left. I just saw it there. It's almost midnight in Brazil. Yeah, it's 3:33 here in New Zealand. So I've been streaming. Oh, well, almost 3 hours. Dang. Yeah, I kind of like, sometimes I feel like this is, I've been streaming for so long. And then sometimes I feel like, man, I haven't been streaming for long at all. And that's probably because I had Tim on earlier, right? And I haven't even finished this page since I've been talking all this time. I'm close to it, but not fully finished. But that's the other thing, is that when you're like live streaming and talking, you don't get much work done. Because, as I mentioned earlier, your brain's like trying to do 2-3 things at, multitask, do 2-3 things at the same time. And so you're not able to concentrate on the one thing. But this is fun. And so like, that's why I don't, and the other thing is because, I like to spend a lot of time working. That's why I don't stream a lot. And I got to pick and choose the time I stream, so that like, I actually am in the mood to stream. And not only that I have the energy to do it as well, because as you guys know, I'm 27 in pain because of my various concussions, back injuries and neck injuries. So usually, I wake up and I've got to wait for the pain meds to kick in, and then if I feel okay to stream, then I go, okay, I'm ready now. So that's why usually there's like an hour notice or a 30-minute notice because of that. And even if I plan like weeks and weeks ahead, I still change them because of that. But I do enjoy coming on here and talking about my artist's work, and because they deserve to be promoted as much as the work that we're doing needs to be promoted, because they put a lot of effort in. They put a lot of skill. They bring a lot of talent to the table, and it's I love showing, showcasing what they're working on with me. Like this is like first issue of the one we work on here is first issue of Templeton, #1. I guess that's what it's called first. It's a 6-issue comic book. All cover A's are interconnecting, so all 6 cover A's make up a single image. Piece, whatever, they all connect. Each one has a different different character on it, but they're all interlocked into one single image. So, but you don't pay any premium prices for that. That's been my main thing from the start for this, was that if you support us, your first cover will be interlocking with all the other first covers. That way it's your regular standard price. It's not anything more expensive. And of course there'll be other variant covers, but this is going to be that special cover where you don't have to pay extra, right? $20, $30, $40 for a cover to be able to get an interconnecting cover. All you got to do is buy cover A for every issue that we put out, and hopefully 6 months after we put this out, right, issue 2 will be coming out. I think that's me done on this page. Oh, here we go. There's some little bits here. I really don't want to see like little spots of white because it's going to muddy up the print version, and I don't want that. I don't want my I don't want the artwork to look muddy. The colors to be muddy on the screen. Sorry, not on screen, in print. Sorry, because printing costs a lot. I know people can say, oh, it doesn't cost a print. It's it's really fast and all that. Sometimes, depending on what it is, man, printing a comic book can cost a lot. Depending on whether it's color, depending on if the covers are different. Like a variant, like if it's a opal, translucent, plastic, oil, all that. So it can go up in price because they have minimums. So if one person just bought one and nobody else bought any other issues, right? Any other covers, it can get expensive. You can end up like getting at all your covers, but then you can end up with nothing in your pocket. Been through that. so I'm talking about experience of that one. So yeah. So please do, if you can do one thing for me today, it's to support us, is go to Kickstarter and look up link on that, links in the chat, and of course go to that link on Kickstarter and just follow us. That's all. What that'll do for us is be able to, when we put up a notification saying, hey, we're going live now, our campaign's about to go this day, and so on. So you get notified about that, and that'll help us. Maybe if you don't even want to support us, you could actually share that out. I would really love that. Oops, need that to be brown. lovely piece of material, of course. And trash here. Fabric, paper, cardboard. Oops. Yeah. Need to choose the color first before I go inside dropping in the colors. I think that's all. I got my wood right, I got my wall. Also, of course, we do have, you know, let me bring that link up. The tiny link that I had in the actual description for the chat, for the stream, for we're a webcomic, which is doing really well. We're up to 1,400 viewers, 24 subscribers. Would love more. All right, as we head towards printing this up next year, we've got 1,407 so far on our manga. Right, so this is the link for it. I put a tiny link up rather than like the long-winded, Webtoon link. So yeah, 1,400, and we've only, I think we put out 21 pages so far, so we're pretty close to, putting, all these are like pages, but like over here, this was like a 2-page spread, so I put up both of them at the same time. Of course, we streamed that last couple of weeks ago when I was putting this all together. So yeah, really excited to I think I just, because I went and moved, there was one more person saw it or somebody else saw it. But yeah, really enjoy doing this. It's been a learning experience for me, getting back to web comics, which is what I used to do, early on in about 2007 to 2009 or 2011, I think was around that, when I was putting out the Circle as a web comic, and it was in the heyday, like the early days of web comics, and so we were getting like 100,000 views, 70,000 views on the comics. It's every time I put up a page. Okay. And of course, the other thing is here at the bottom, you can see of your screen, is that we've got the Incredible #2 coming out soon as well, and that is on this page here. Let me get that link. And you can read a bit about that there. Somebody messaging. This is like, you can go to this page and you'll see the #1 issue, and you can see the artwork on there. Of course, we're going to be releasing #1 again. Hold on, I'm on the wrong page. Get rid of that. This is put up by a publisher. All right, so this is #1. All right, and so #2 is going to be coming out soon, and that will be, the link will be here. I think this is the link for it when you go to it. Hold on. Wrong tab click. Nope. Again, wrong tab clicked. Okay. Yeah. So this is the where we're going to have the Incredible #2 all ages full color comic book, and that's put on by our publisher, Rising Sun Comics. There. And of course, against was that on that right page? No, not on the right page. That. What page am I supposed to be on? Yeah, this one. So yeah, there you go. So Rising Sun Publishing is running that for us, and so Incredible will be on there. Yeah, and while I'm here, let me just do a promo for where's my link? There we go. So you can also go to the, our publishers page. Let me get a tiny URL for that. Give me that URL. Short another. There we go. Okay. And once it does it, verify you are human. Well, so this is the link for our comics on the publishers page. There we go. There we go. Tiny URL, and this will bring you to the Ashcan version of Robot Nation, which we are putting out in full color soon. We didn't reach our goal last time, so and plus I hadn't completed all the languages, which we're releasing in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. Yeah, for that one, but also in Critical #1's there. You can grab it with the variant cover as a, for the digital version, and of course you can also get the, Sunspot magazine, 64 pages with complete 40 pages plus of artwork. I mean, of comic book stories, including Templeton, Behemoth, which we, which I've changed for the print version that we're doing with Templeton, which will still be black, which will be an Ashcan version in the full color comic book. So there's interviews. You can learn about the New Zealand comic community as well, and this huge book that was put out about the history of New Zealand comics, the best of New Zealand comics. Also, my friends, what is it called, wordless robot story. I think that somebody's actually put that in their comic book as a print version. This was supposed to be a print version, but then what is it called? COVID hit. However, this also includes, and so we just pulled it off the of Kickstarter and just went to digital for the, and left it at digital. Maybe somewhere in the future we might put it out as a print, but there's no plans for it. It is 64 pages, plus includes an all ages 12-page full color comic book from Armadillo Justice, called Armadillo Justice. So let me get you the page there so you guys can check that out as well. This is a kids, all ages, but meant for kids. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Armadillos from outer space, kind of thing with ants, as the villains. I think it's ants are the villains. Yeah. But yeah, do check that out as well. It's, like people keep saying, there should be comics for kids, and there is. You just got to look for it, and go check this out. And Incredible, of course, like I said, is an all ages comic book, superhero comic book for kids. So yeah, so that'll be Incredible will be coming out at the same time we release all our other comics, so that you guys can save on freight. By going, I bought issue #1 and issue #2 from there. Can you please add it to this? And because I'm buying, Templeton or the other comics as well, and your manga. So can you just send it in one lot? And be like, yeah, cool. Thank you for supporting us. And yes, you can also save money on freight costs. So what are you waiting for? All right, go check out our Kickstarter pages, share them out, help us out just by like and subscribing to our channel here. And wherever you are, have an awesome day and awesome week. And if I don't see you on the flip side, all the best. But we'll catch you next on the Monkey Show. See you soon. Ka kite anō. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, everybody who's watching either on Facebook or on, what do we call it? X. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It's always fun to have somebody in the stream, in the chat, sorry, just talking and answer questions and so on and having input, because I think the chat is really awesome. There's no point live streaming if you don't have a chat, and I really nobody watching you, so I'm really grateful and always grateful when people turn up. So thank you so much. Bye for now. Kapitano.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.